Can't hear. I can't hear now. What is going on? Oh, I can't. Hold on. I might gotta put you in my ear. Give me a second. Ah, what's going on? This is terrible. Wait a minute, because I'm at see if this guy gonna let me in. He's a a-hole. Oh, sorry. He won't even let me in. Goofball. Terrible. Ugly people, man. So ugly. This goofball. About time. Jesus. Man. Oh boy, get you in my ear. I don't know how.
Stay on I-85 south as it bears left.
Okay. Let's see. What?
3.5 miles ahead. Stay on I-85 south as it bears left.
Gotta get this. What is this? Oh, come on. Oh my God. What is that? Ah. Oh my God. Lord Jesus. I can't even. What is this? Let me go out of this. I can't even. This thing. Okay. Oh my God, this is killing me. Oh Lord, I can't hear. Let me see. Oh boy. Now I'm going to it. It is. Hello?
Hey,
Ah, hey,
that's me.
about time. Yeah, I got you.
My bad, my bad.
It was
Yeah,
me. It was my,
no,
I
no,
was,
no, it was me. It was me. My bad. I had it on mute because I was yeah, I had it on mute for a second.
oh, that
Time.
was
Yeah,
driving me
got you.
crazy.
My bad, my bad.
It was me. It was my, I was,
No, it was me. It was me. My bad. I had it on mute because I was yeah, I had it on mute for a second. Hold on a second.
oh, yeah, you hear that?
It's
Driving me crazy. It's repeating everything, what we just said.
Hold on. Let me fix
Ah,
it.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I had it on mute for a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you hear that?
Hold on.
Ooh, it's so hot out here in Georgia. Oh, it's just draining my poor little belly. Oof. I can,
2
oh,
miles ahead. Stay on
Yeah,
I-85
you hear
south as it bears
Okay,
left.
there you go. You hear me now?
yeah.
I had to cut down Facebook. I mean, not Facebook. The YouTube. I had it on the YouTube thing still. Hold on.
About
Let me go ahead and switch it back over here.
time. This thing
All
is
right. Now
crazy.
you're ready. Now you're ready. Okay, okay. You there?
Yes,
You're following me? You're following.
yes.
Let me get over here a little more. Here we go. Okay.
Uh,
The Bible said King get the King Caesar when there ain't nothing about the Bible study. Okay, let me see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Why the lights off here? There we go. All right. Cool. Okay. The brightness up on that bad boy a little bit.
Boy, they is posted out here.
Okay, there we go.
These doggone, they got the road closed all the way up. Got us on one lane on this 5-lane highway. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
One lane. Just started moving. What is going on with this micromanagement in this world? Whew,
I have no idea.
terrible.
Let's see here. So, okay.
Thank God I only got 87 miles left to go. Oh, get me off this highway. Jesus. Too much to be done. Going down here.
Stay on I-85 south as it bears left.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see here. So
Stay on I-85 south as it bears left.
let's
Oh, my stomach is so empty. Ah, I gotta get to. I'm going to Fayetteville, North Carolina
Stay on I-85
next. I'll be
Hmm.
out there with my cousin. Where they at? My family.
8 miles ahead. Take exit 95B to I-285 west.
Yeah, get me. Oh, got me all claustrophobic. Jeez, I know it. Oh, wait. Over this.
Nạp vuông ít để chạy bông thôi, còn tiền chạy bông thôi. Hoặc là còn hồi trước đó là cứ ngồi hello chef rồi tặng cho em hết, rồi hồi lúc mà mới đầu gặp em á cho em 20-30 ngàn luôn á. Cho uni chưa? Không cho uni nhưng mà cho nhiều quà, kiểu thích cảm giác cho nhiều.
Yeah, that's the last link. I have to delete it. It don't work. I had to use the old link.
Okay. All right. We about to start.
Okay.
About to start. All right. So I'm just getting a couple more last, little send offs real quick before I think I sent to everybody I need to send it to.
All right.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so let's see here. Homeless person. Get one people thing here.
Well, if you start at a certain time every Saturday, you just tell everybody the broadcast time, and then you let them chime in, like that, instead of you having to go on through all that extra work. And we can just log on.
The thing about it is people, you know what I'm saying, you gotta be adamant, because people have a short attention spans these days, you know what I'm saying? So
People what?
people have short attention spans, these days, you know what I'm saying? So if you ain't on top of it, if you ain't
Right.
constantly promoting it,
Okay.
they're not going you know what I'm saying,
Okay. I got you.
follow it, man. And here's the thing, you got 1,000 people doing the same thing, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But a lot of times, saying that's where everybody going whichever way they're going, because that's what, I mean, and that's fine as long as they give the word. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. But on Sabbath, that's when I do it. So I do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And if they do, you know what I'm saying, want to
Chime in, yeah.
chime in, they can. They don't have to. Now, mind you, it's on
Right.
YouTube. Whoever don't see it here,
Right.
we'll see it on YouTube. Now,
That's true.
get this started. All right, there we go. All right.
I got you.
Um,
It's a good thing though, either way.
Today is August 22nd,
Yes.
2026. Ladies and gentlemen.
Amen.
The time is 1:30 on the East Coast. Okay. This is Bible Study with KingCzol podcast, and we have Bible study. That's what we're doing. This is the 47th episode. 47th episode. That means we're in a couple weeks from being a year of doing this right here. When it started out, just to go a little brief thing, it started out, from me being from a lost place. I was lost at one point in time. I didn't know who I was per se, besides what I was told. And that all changed. And when I found out who I was, you know what I'm saying? With my connection with God. And from there, I said, I need to get on the ball with what he wanted me to do. And not just what he wanted me to do, but be a better person and changing, what I was doing before, letting go of the past and moving toward the future. And the future is, what I'm saying, life and in unison with what God wants all of us to do, which is be great people and be human beings and treat others that we like to be treated. It seems like that seems to be like a hard thing to do today, and I'm gonna talk about all that today. So yeah, we're gonna get into that stuff because that's important. Hold on. Here we go. We can get into that because that's important. Let's see here. Let me go ahead, go live over here. Give me 1 second. I'll pull this up over here. like this. You know, you gotta do a little something different on here. Because you know, when you got these different platforms going at the same time, a lot of time that's the, you know, that can throw everything off. Okay, let's do this one right here. Okay. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Save. All right. Go back to it. And we just change this from here, and then we're gonna get started. So yeah, so where is it at? There we go. Okay, there we go. Boom. All right, there we go. All right, let's go live. Okay. So, like I was saying, yeah, we're gonna do a match today, not today. Like I was saying, right? We have hold on. Put the Wi-Fi off there. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now you're ready. All right, my bad. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it.
Okay.
Woo!
Okay.
Let's get it. All right.
Yes.
Today's topic. Okay. Today's topic in Bible study, episode 47. Okay, this is Bible study with KingCzol podcast, and here we have Bible study. We're talking about the 613 commandments in the Old Testament. Okay, that's 613 commandments. Okay, these are the same commandments that Jesus followed, Moses followed, David followed, and everybody else followed, or supposed to follow. Solomon, you name it, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. All right. And we're going to talk about the 613 laws of the Old Testament, which we call the commandments, right? Or the laws, statutes, and judgments, which is what God gave to mankind for. He gave us this for, so we will be able to understand Him and to live correctly, right? And that's important to understand how to live correctly, right? And what does living correctly look like? For example, I think you know, being a good human being, human person, you know what I'm saying? And I think that right there is a big thing in our community as far as being a good person, because a lot of people don't see why. They don't see why you should be a good person. And I say that because we got a lot going on in the community. And I say community as in the Black community. We got a lot of division going on. We got a lot of agents going on that's bringing division amongst the people. Okay, that's important to understand. We have a lot of negative things that's going on outside of that. So we have internal negativity and external negativity, and even international negativity now going on, where people are mad at other people that look just like them from other places. Okay, and we're going to talk about all that today, but we're going to use that at the same time we talk about the scriptures as well. And this is where we're going to go from here. So now let's break down. Let's go into let's go into let me bring that up. Did I post it already? Let me make sure I posted it. Hold on. Let me just make sure I posted the topic of the day discussion today on my page. You know, because sometimes, you know, I don't want to
Left
forget
towards
nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I-285 West Chattanooga,
I
Birmingham.
don't just forget stuff. Let me sure I posted that already.
Oh. Ah.
No, I did not. Okay. Let me post that real quick. Hold on, y'all.
I-285 West Chattanooga, Birmingham.
Okay. Let me post that real quick and then we're gonna get to it. Slide over here. Scroll down.
0.1 miles ahead. Take exit 20 to I-75 North Larry McDonald Memorial Highway.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. All right, I posted it now. Just
Yeah.
okay, so now what?
Ah,
All right. Cool. All right, there we go. Let's get back to it. There we go. TikTok. Okay, there we go. We back. All right. So if you're just now joining us, you know, this is Bible Study with KingCzol, the podcast, episode 47, and we're gonna talk about the 613 commandments. Okay. Let me bring that up real quick. All right, there we go. All right. My bad. I'm just trying to get this thing together. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes things be going a little slow on the computer when you're dealing with, you know, got these things going on. But I'm gonna just go ahead to it. Let's get to it the other way. Because it seems like it don't wanna, I know it posted, but at the same time I don't see it posting. My bad, Brian. Let me just
No, you're good. You're good. I'm over here going through it with myself.
I'm making sure this thing posted so I can start. But you know, sometimes this thing be act like it don't want to post.
Ah,
Okay, so there we go. All right. Hit that button right there. Pin post. Okay, there we go. All right, let's get to it. All right. My bad. Let's get to it. All right, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay.
All the stuff open. Oh boy.
All right, let's get to it. All right, so okay. All right. That's everything connected. All right, so let's get back to it. So yeah, today's topic of discussion is the 613 laws, which include the commandments, 10 commandments, and as well as other commandments, other statutes and judgments, and laws. So all right. So now we're here with it. Okay. Well, what people don't understand is, just to give a brief background and summary of things when it comes to that. Not every commandment or law is something that you have to do. It is specific to what it's specific. Okay.
Distracted.
It's specific. Let me unpin this post. It's specific to who you are. Okay. Because everybody has a purpose. Every man, every woman has a purpose, but specific to who you are is specific to your purpose, right? I think a lot of people don't
Slow down within the next 4
don't
miles.
know the
Please use
differences
caution.
between the laws and the purposes of the laws for who it's for. Okay, we're gonna go over that briefly right now in a minute. So let's start right around here. Yeah, it still didn't do what I needed to do, but that's okay. We're gonna worry about that. As long as we got what we need to have, we straight, we good. Okay. So yeah, let's continue.
Okay.
Let's bring this
Mm.
Bible. My bad. Let me see. Man, I hate when this computer going slow.
Ah.
Alright.
Woo. Peach tea. So good.
Peach tea.
I love it.
Peach tea.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right. So these are 16, the 613 laws, right? Okay. But now it's broken down into different categories. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the categories for you, right? The 613 laws of the Old Testament, also called the mitzvah. Okay. All right.
For the what? The misbot? What'd you
Mitzvah.
say?
Mitzvah.
How you spell that?
Mitzvot.
Okay.
Okay.
Mitzvot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's that. I
All right.
got you.
And it says here, reading from, this is based off of this is written, this is not in the Bible, y'all. This is just based off of Google about the laws, like somebody giving a summary of it. Okay, it says a simplified list of the laws of God as they were understood by the Old Testament Hebrews and the Hebrew people of the present day. Because that's the first thing you got to say about the laws, ladies and gentlemen. They're not for everybody. The laws were not for everybody. Okay, The laws are for God's people. That's originally what the laws are for. This is why we have so much confusion. Because if you ain't God's people, then they don't reply to you. But here's the thing. If you are God's people, right? Doesn't mean you can't become God's people, but at the same time, you have to learn from somebody that is God's people. You can't just think you're just going to read a book and just know what's going on, because you need divine interpretation and to interpret these words, to understand them. You have to study and show yourself approved. So you have to actually break it down. And a lot of times the disconnect is this. A lot of us have been, for over 400 years and more, subjugated to oppression, colonization, and misinformation on purpose. And the reason why we've been subjugated to that is because they can control the narrative of who we are. And so we forget who we are and do the things we shouldn't be doing. Right? Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, God chose the people, to do his work. Okay? Whatever that might be. There's different work to do. But at the same time, he chose us to do the work. Right? And if you're going to do the work, you got to know the work. You have to study the work. You have to take it seriously because it's a real thing, right? And biggest thing is understand the work. And you can read something and not understand it. You know what I mean? And that's a big problem. I noticed as I do my studies, with everybody I'm doing studies with, that we're learning things that's like, that's something that might be minute to somebody. It might be small to somebody, but to somebody else is big. Just the other day, I had a conversation about, thou should not, and everybody would say, when you say thou should not, the first thing they say is thou should not kill. Well, that's wrong. Because thou should not kill is not the actual word that's in the Hebrew text. The original word is thou should not murder. And if you don't know the difference between murder and killing somebody, it's two different things. Killing is a general. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Killing is general. Murder is specific. So if you murder someone, you did it for a reason. Thank you. Appreciate you. If you murder somebody, you did it for intent that was bad, that was wrong, that was unjust. So, for example, if you rob somebody and they don't want to give you their car or their jewelry or their possessions, and you shoot them or stab them and they die, that is considered murder. Okay? If you did it over because you're jealous of them, you don't like them, or they took your girlfriend or husband or something like that, that's murder. Okay? There's not a just reason to do that. Okay? To take anybody's life. You know what I mean? Because taking somebody's life is final. So that is the difference between murder and killing. Killing can be accidental. For example, I'm driving a car. I hit somebody on the road. I didn't mean to do that. That wasn't my intention. But it's still vehicular manslaughter. And if it is vehicular manslaughter, then guess what? People will say, well, you killed that person. That's true. I did. But I didn't murder them. You understand the concept? You follow me, Vern?
Yes, premeditated murder.
Right. So premeditated or something that's accidental are two separate things. And that's what the Bible specifically says in Hebrew. But when translation, when King James was doing it, they put in there just a general overall and said kill, which is why the confusion is thou shalt not murder is in the actual text. And the actual name for it, if you don't know, is Tarsha. That's Tirtshah. Okay? Tarsha is murder in Hebrew. There's another word for kill, but that's not it. And that's important to understand the scriptures. So this is why a lot of people, sometimes will take that one instance right there of confusion and then say, well, I don't want to do none of the Bible. It's fake. It's not real. It's not correct. It's written by man. That's the biggest mistake people make, because they say it's by man, but they don't understand that it was influenced by God. And God don't make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? We make mistakes all day, but God don't make mistakes. So I think that's important, very important to understand. And this is why we have Bible study every Saturday. And for the past 47 weeks, we've been doing this. And that's the reason why. Because people need to understand and know scriptures in the correct way. Because you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying? All right. So let's go over some of them laws right now. Okay. Let's go over them. All right. All right. One of them, right? The first one I would say here is God. That's one law right there. You know what I mean? The first commandment is what? Let's go over the commandments. We can get that and break that down to what we had it. All right. There we go. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. 10 commandments.
Commit
Let's see here.
adultery. I forget. Okay.
Okay, so the first commandment here, right, is going to be thou shalt not. Okay, hold on. Let me bring it up there. Let me try. There we go. Okay. The first image, right? The first thing is you shall not have no other gods before me. That's the first commandment. Okay.
Okay.
So that's a God commandment right there. God is saying, I'm the only God. Don't put nobody above me, next to me, or before me. Period. There's only one, me. So he says, you should not have no other gods before me. Okay. He made that clear because people do that all the time and don't even know it. They do it, but not being disrespectful, but just they're not understanding of what and who God is. You know what I'm saying? So this is where, people, the New Testament came and people have different understanding of, of things. And that's where it becomes, problematic because people say, well, there's three gods, right? There's not three gods. There's only one God. That's God the Father. You know what I'm saying? He has a Son and the Holy Spirit is there too as well. And there's angels and everything else, but there's only one, the Father. Okay? Same one Jesus prayed to, the same one Holy Spirit, they all were connected, but at the same time, there's only one, okay, that has the power over all. All right. That's why it's important to understand that. Now, other one is you should not make no idols. You should not make no idols, okay? Don't make any calves, don't make any pictures, don't make any crosses or anything that you worship or believe that has power over God. Because God is in everything. But at the same time, he's not an idolatry. Idolatry is not something that God is attached to. You can't attach God to a rock. You can't attach God to a refrigerator. You can't attach God to a computer. You know what I'm saying? Or a watch or any of that stuff. God is God. And one, you won't see him. He's invisible. Okay, the Bible says that he's invisible. You do not see him. Nobody has ever seen him but the Son. You see what I'm saying? So, with that being said, that's why it's important to understand. Okay, nobody on earth specifically. All right. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Another commandment will be, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Sounds a simple thing, right? We all say that. It's simple, right? Vern. You hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. People say, thou should not take God's name in vain. People do it all the time. And they don't even know they're doing it. And this is why it's important to understand the commandments, because you might say, for example, I swear to, you know what I mean? Right there, you violate it. You violate it right there when you say, I swear. Because when you swear on God's name, and God says in the Bible, and I was doing it myself. I did it up until recently because I just read that part. I was like, let me check that
You're
up.
not supposed to swear. Yeah.
You're not supposed to swear on nothing because you don't control nothing.
Yes.
Only God can make a promise. Only God can tell you, he'll give you his word. You can only say yes or no. That's the only thing you should say. If somebody asks you, hey, you going to the party tomorrow? No. Or yes. Or maybe. But to say, I promise on my life I'll be there tomorrow, or I swear on, my mom, or any of that is a no-no. So that's why I stopped doing it, because I read it. I study to show myself approved. I study to get a better understanding and follow what he said to do, right? And that's why we have Bible study, right? So that's something that is in the word, is in the scriptures, and something I had to figure out at this age, okay, that I was doing something wrong, right? So that's one of the big ones right there that we don't even pay attention to. We kind of just glaze over that. Next one is keep the Sabbath day holy. What's today? Today's Sabbath day. Sabbath day is nighttime Friday night to nighttime Saturday night. That's when it ends. It starts Friday night, it ends Saturday night. I usually sleep on Friday nights. That's why I don't do Bible study on Fridays. I go to sleep. I relax. I'm out here clubbing. I ain't at the parties. I'm relaxing. I'm at work, or if I'm not at work, I'm relaxing. I'm sleeping. Okay. But usually I'm off on Friday afternoon. So Friday, if I'm working the Friday morning, I'm off by Friday night. Okay, and I'm chilling. If you call me on Friday night, I'm not working. I'm chilling. So that's what I've been doing for the past 47 weeks. I've been off. Okay. Keep the Sabbath day holy, man. It's pretty simple. That's the fourth commandment. God made the Sabbath for us. He made the Sabbath for us to rest, to enjoy ourselves, to relax, spend time with family, read the book, read the word, learn about God, to do many things. You know what I'm saying? We could do with our family or study or rest, eat food, have a feast. You know what I mean? To do things that are holy. He wants us to keep that day holy. He sanctified that day. He didn't just make the day and say, okay, this day is going to be this day and that's it. He said forever and ever, you will keep this day holy. So that means don't do anything that's unholy on that day. Don't disrespect your parents or your friends and family. Don't, curse if you can't, help your curse. Watch your tone. Watch how you talk to people. Be careful about how you talk to people. Don't, steal or do anything break any commandments. Basic stuff that we just just chill out on the day. You know what I mean? And people don't do that because people don't follow Sabbath. So they think it's Sunday and they just do whatever they want, no matter what day you do it in the week. But at the same time, keep it holy. Try to be as best as possible. Try to be your best behavior on the Sabbath. That's what he's asking for. You know what I'm saying? Keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother. Well, if you have a father and mother, or if you have one, respect them. You know what I'm saying? They bring you in this world at the end of the day. With the help of God. They had you. So yeah, respect your parents, because guess what? A child is a spirit of rod spoiled a child. If you don't raise the child the right way, then they will be led astray. And the devil, and Satan loves to lead people astray. Okay, he led me astray many times. Okay, till I knew who I was, until I knew my purpose. And then that's when it all changed. But before that, yeah, I was led astray many times. And he still tries it, but it don't work. But because I know better now. Okay, so yeah, honor your father and your mother. You should not murder. Okay, that's right there. You want to see it? I can show you a picture of it. It says right here, you should not murder. Because people updated that part of the Bible now because they know what it means. They went to the original text and it says thou shalt not murder. So that's on there. Okay, that's common, but just not only murder physically, mentally either. You know what I'm saying? You can murder somebody with your words too. You can kill somebody with your words. You kill somebody's self-esteem. You kill somebody's happiness, their joy, their spirit. Your words are very powerful. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Am I right, Vern?
Yes.
So what you do with your mouthpiece matters, but also what you do physically matters as well. And there's no, like I said, thou shalt not murder should be common. All right. You should not commit adultery. This is a big problem in the community. Okay. A lot of people are sleep with people's wives and husbands and girlfriends and everything else. Okay. If it don't belong to you, it don't belong to you. And you might say, well, they got a ring, or I see no ring on your finger. Did you ask the person? Did you ask them before you did it? Did you, investigate? Do you just do things without investigating? You just believe everybody what they say? You use no discernment when you talk to that person. You just say, oh yeah, they must be single if they're talking to me. That's not true. And yes, you should not commit adultery, because you don't know what kind of demons you might bring into your life. You don't know what type of person, if they can cheat on their wife or their husband,
5
they'll
miles
cheat on
ahead.
you.
Take exit 285 to Red
But
Top
they're not
Mountain Road
loyal to the person they
southeast.
put a ring on their finger. Okay? Walk in the aisle with them. Spend $30,000 for a wedding, which is the average cost of a wedding. They ain't gonna love you. They're gonna probably cheat on you too. And it happens all the time. And people look crazy when they say, "Oh, what do you think was gonna happen when you committed adultery?" You thought the person that had a sexual, fleshly moment with you is gonna be a person that's gonna stay with you. Now, some cases, it does happen, but it's still a sin. It doesn't change the fact of the matter that they were betrothed or with somebody else. All right. You should not steal. That's self-explanatory. You shouldn't steal, right? Because it ain't your stuff. That's not your cheese. You know what I mean? That's the comedian that said that. I think his name was what's the guy's name? But he made it. But yeah, my point I'm trying to say is, you ain't supposed to take nothing that's not yours. I mean, people do it all the time, and it's stealing somebody's husband or somebody's wife is the same as stealing. Okay, but it's just that's enough. You broke 2 commandments technically if you do that. You steal somebody's, loved one, spouse, and at the same time you commit adultery. Some of these things are come together. You could probably break like 2 or 3 commandments just because of one. All right. So thou shalt not steal, right? You should not bear false witness against your neighbor. That's a big one. Ain't that right, Vern? That's a big
Yes. Yeah.
one. Now you might say,
Yeah.
why is it a big one? People bear false witness against their neighbor all the time.
Yes.
This is why I say don't gossip. That's pretty much the same thing. You shouldn't be gossiping about nobody.
Yeah. That's true.
Gossiping is bad because gossiping can lead to a lot of things. It can lead to people getting, murder. It can lead to people getting reputations being ruined. It can lead to lies being told on people.
Stay
Because
away from gossipers to
Yeah.
sum it all up.
Stay away from gossip.
In the next
You know
2
what I'm saying?
miles.
Yes.
Stay away from gossipers. Stay away from people that will talk. Because they can talk about. Here's the thing: somebody can talk about to me to you. Chances are they're gonna talk about you to me, or you to somebody else. Please understand that gossip is one of the biggest ones. It's a huge one, a big sin. That's why it's in the 10 Commandments. Okay, it's there for a reason, and the reason is because it's a serious offense. If you lie on me, yeah, I'm not gonna like you. People have, been unalived because of gossip. They've been unalived because somebody lied on them. They've been unalived because of lies. So be careful about lying to somebody, because guess what? It can come back on you. I've seen it happen to people too. You know what I'm saying? They lie on people. They spread lies and dissension and hate and all this other stuff. I see it every day. I even see it on TikTok. And that's another thing. That's why I actually bring this up, because, for example, I'm on TikTok. I just kind of got on it a couple months ago, and I noticed there's a big movement right now called FBA. And if y'all know what that means, it means Foundational Black Americans. And technically, anybody that's in America and ancestors are linked to child slavery is a foundational Black American. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is the negative connotations, the negative conversations that happen because of it. Because some people believe, right? Some people will come and say, well, I'm American, They will say, I'm American, and everybody else has to leave the country. Anybody who's not born here has to leave the country. And I don't believe that's right. No, I don't believe that's right at all. Because a lot of people have got here the same way that you got here. Slavery did not just happen in America. Slavery happened in the islands, Central America, and South America. Slavery happened in Europe, Africa, Asia, and anywhere else you can think about. India. Slavery's been going on for thousands of years before American chattel slavery. Now, I will say you can identify as whatever you like. That's not a problem. Okay. But to be biased and prejudiced against other people, I feel like that's the negative part that I can't be a part of. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm not a part of any of those organizations that, you know, newly sprouted up because of that reason. Because I know that is not positive at all. It doesn't bring us together. It separates us, it brings us apart. And I'm talking about people in the diaspora as well as people in America. Okay. So yeah, we gotta work on that. We gotta fix that. But let's keep going. And last thing is, thou should not covet. What does that mean? Thou should not covet. Thou should not covet thy neighbor's wife. Thou should not covet thy neighbor's possessions. Thou should not covet, you know, anything that somebody else got.
Taken.
You shouldn't be worried about what everybody else got. Should I keep with the Joneses? Remember back in the day you used to say that, Vern, keeping up with the Joneses? That was like a saying. Yeah, you shouldn't be want to keep with the Joneses. But for somebody else, for somebody else.
Right.
You can be happy for them, but keep moving. You know what I'm saying? What's for me was for me. What's for you is for you. You know what I mean? Everybody's not gonna have the same benefits. Everybody doesn't have the same connection with God. So everybody doesn't have the same blessings. Everybody's blessings are different. So yeah, keep that in mind when you think about your life. Don't think about somebody else's life compared to yours. Think about what you got to do to get your life better. You know what I'm saying? And I see that a lot too. People, you know, and I've done it before, you know, like, oh, I wish I had that house and things like that. You know, I had a car. But guess what? If it's meant for you to have, you will have it.
Right.
You know, my brother was talking about winning the lottery. And I'm like, you know, what's the chance of that? But it's not about winning the lottery. It's about things that people say what they do if they won. Right? You won, what you going to do with that money? You got $40 billion, what you going to do with it? Oh, I'm going to go and buy a car and buy a big house and buy and run a country and you know, and do this and do that and get divorced. And, you know, that ain't godly. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta, you know what I'm saying, money is not evil, but the love for money is evil.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean? And that's why coveting people's possessions or coveting, you know, thou shalt not covet is a part of that. You shouldn't covet what somebody else had because you know what they did to get it.
Mm.
You know, there's a lot of people here that's doing all kinds of things to get money.
Yeah.
And it ain't good stuff. You know what I mean? Men and women. For example, prostitution. Okay. Prime example. That's sleeping with somebody for money. There's plenty of men and women out here doing that. We got strippers on the pole. I ain't never been to a strip club before, but you know, I have. But at the end of the day, yeah, people would take off their clothes and dance for money. Something they wouldn't do if they had money, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else people do? People have robbed people for money. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People, I don't know, there's plenty of things people do for money that could be, you know, steal for money. You know, people even unalive people for money. They will even take your life for money.
Yeah.
So those things are all bad. There's no good in none of that stuff. No matter if one is you seem to think is less than the other, they're all bad. And that's why the Ten Commandments was written. Now, mind you, these laws right here are ones that most people know about, but there's a lot of them they don't know about that don't apply to everybody. So these one here should apply to everybody, right? But of course they don't, because not everybody believes in God. Off the first rip, the people out here that don't believe in God. So they're not going to understand or believe what nothing you're saying. You can tell them all day. Yeah, they say, oh, that's been my man. They ain't going to believe it. So they don't even already, right there off the rip, they don't want to hear about none of the stuff you're saying here. Unfortunately, it's sad, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
they would disregard things. It's like people like that. They just disregard everything because of what they believe, not because of what they actually know, or even what they even follow some of the commandments. But they'll say, "Well, I'm just being a good person." Why? Why are you being a good person? And they'll be like, "Oh, I'm a good person because why? You're a good person because you were told to be a good person. Who told you that? Oh, my mom told me that. And why'd your mom tell you that? Was your mom a believer? Yeah, my mom was a believer. Well, then why aren't you? You see what I'm saying? People disassociate themselves. They try to disassociate themselves from God. But see, God's written in here, in your heart. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He's not just in the sky or in heaven or all around you. He's inside you. If you let him in. A lot of people don't want to let him in. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but I've seen it. And they'll have reasons that they'll say why. A lot of reasons they say why are based off of things that it might even be God's doing. Or things that are naturally going to happen. For example, somebody told me, why did God take my father, my mother? We all gonna pass away eventually. We all gonna go. So whether you go today or tomorrow, that means nothing. You see what I'm saying? All right. But they'll use that as a way to blame God. They blame God for their parent passing away. That my parents both passed away. I never blame God for my parents passed away. I know they're in a better place. You see what I'm saying? But some people will blame for their loved one passed away. They use that hurt to turn against God. That's what the devil wants you to do.
Excuses.
That's what he wants you to do. He wants you his excuse.
It's
an excuse to turn away from God, because that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to go to hell. He wants you to be punished. He don't like you at all. Satan does not like you at all. So anything that you think about, when you think about something, you think about I shouldn't do this, he's trying to convince you to do it.
Yep.
Don't fall for the trap. You might not believe that God's real, but I don't think you're going to find out if he ain't, or if he is, when it's too late. You see what I'm saying? It's better to believe than not believe. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep going. So that's the 10 Commandments right there. I just read to you guys, right? Now here's the thing. Now that's only 10 of 16 and 13, right? 613. We got 603 more commandments. All right. Now let's go through some of them, right? So the first one I say was God, right? Usually you can break that down into, the commandments and things like that. And, but there's passages about it. I'm not going to read every passage about it. I'm not going to go through because there's a lot of them. Okay. But I'll just give you a couple examples, right? So, for example, these are some of God's commandments, right? Just God commandments. To know God to know that God exists. That's Exodus 20, chapter 20, verse 2. Or Deuteronomy 5:6. You know what I mean? To know God exists. Some people don't believe God exists. So right there, that's a commandment, to know God exists. So if you don't believe in God, the Father of heaven and earth, the one that gave you his only begotten Son for your salvation, how are you going to say that you think you're going to get to the promised land if you don't even believe he exists? That's why Jesus said, many people will come and say that, Lord, Lord, and say, I prophesied your name and did this and that. He's going to say, I don't know you. Get away from me. Those of you practice iniquity. Okay? And that's because you can't say, I believe in, the concrete over there. That's idol worship. So if you don't believe in the Father of heaven and earth, you got a problem. And that's what I'm saying, right? So that's one. Not to entertain. The second will be not to entertain the idea that there is any other God but the eternal Father. Well, that's in Exodus 20, verse 3. Okay. Not to blaspheme against God, right? Not to curse God, not to blame God and negatively, talk about him, to disrespect him. That's in Exodus 20, chapter 22, verse 27 to 28, as well as Leviticus chapter 24, 16. So you can look this up. Now, I'm not gonna read all them passages to you today. Not today, because we got so many. Okay, but you see how easy those are to follow. Is that hard to follow right now? We already did 3 more right there. We got 611 now. We got 611. Vern. Is that too hard to understand? It's not, right? But 613 laws. We already did 13 of them. Okay, and they ain't hard to do. To know that God exists, to not blaspheme, to not entertain other gods. That's 3 right there. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Mind you, the 10 Commandments. A lot of those commandments have multiple commandments in them. So it ain't just one, like thou shalt not worship the gods before me. That's just one commandment, but then there's a whole bunch of commandments that's under that one, like maybe like 20 of them. So that makes up 20 right there. You see what I'm saying? When people say you can't follow 16 or 13 commandments, you ain't supposed to follow 116 13 commandments. You only got to follow the main ones. The main ones encompass the rest of them. All right, let's keep going. To hallow God's name. Okay, Leviticus 22:32. To not profane God's name, not to say God's name in vain or disrespect, again, that's not the same as the other one before that, but these are all commandments though, right? To know that there's one God, okay? A complete unity, one God, okay? That's Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. Chapter 6, verse 4. To love God. Deuteronomy 6, chapter 5. To love him. That's a commandment, to love God. All right. What's another one? To fear him reverently. Now, what does that mean? Let's look at reverently. Okay? I like to break down words like that, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. Reverently.
Reverently is, okay, here we go. With deep and solemn respect. So to fear God with respect, okay? You got to respect God. You know what I'm saying? People get that fear wrong. God don't want you to fear him. He wants you to love him. But if you love God, you're going to respect God. If you love God, you know what I'm saying? You're going to do what he says, right?
Excuse me, but where do people get that from? Fear God.
I think with translation, fear is something that they use as a tactic of understanding of how, like I said, with deep and solemn respect. So, meaning, sincerity. Okay. You need to sincerely respect and love and fear God. But fear, a lot of times, the fear doesn't work, because if it did work, then people wouldn't be doing what they're doing right now, right? So that's why when Jesus came, he said, you're no longer servants to God. At the end of the day, we're friends. You know what I mean? You will be my friends. I want to be friends. You know what I mean? He's saying that because he understands that people in the past, they fear God, and then they what? They did exactly opposite what God actually wanted them to do. Okay, so we got a lot of people like that out here in this world. Okay, and that's why he came with a different approach. Same thing what happened with the flood. Okay, God flooded the whole world, flooded everybody. Kept only a few people alive. Right, started all over. He regretted it. He said, "I regretted doing that because he didn't want to do that to us."
Right.
There might have been good people that were still good, but not, perfect, but they were still good people. They got washed away in that flood because they didn't listen.
Right.
And he felt away about that. So he said he won't do the flood again because was the flood just? Yes, it was. It was just. But did it work? Meaning that when he cleansed everybody off the earth, and they came back with free will, and later on generations, are we still following what Noah did? No, not at all. Unfortunately. And this is why he sent another messenger, and another messenger, another prophet, until he said, you know what? Forget all this. Let me send Jesus. Let me send my son. Jesus was sent for a reason. And the main reason why Jesus was sent was not just for the salvation, only for us, but for us to understand this is the last. We ain't gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna help you out with this right here.
Right.
But this is right here. If y'all ain't following this, y'all can't. If I send my son down here, and y'all can't follow him, y'all don't understand how to follow the rules. He gonna tell you how to do it. Then now you just ain't gonna follow nothing. That's why we know we're near the end. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all at that point, y'all ain't gonna respect nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And look, right now we got what something's going on, and I'm not gonna get into all the different groups out
Right.
here,
Right.
but we can just look around and see that a lot of people are not doing what God wants you to do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they doing everything that it say not to do in that book.
Under the sun. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let me see, and I'm gonna skip around because, like I said, there's a lot of commandments, but a lot of stuff is very, very remedial. It's very, very, very simple. It's not even something that you don't do already. Okay. Let's keep going though. All right, but that was let me see. That word, boy, is a tongue twister sometimes.
Reverent.
Reverently. That
Rever-
Lee at the end, they get me. That Lee at the end. You know what I'm saying? But reverently. Okay.
Okay. Reverent.
Yeah.
Reverently.
That's what that means. That means
reverently.
with deep solemn respect, you're supposed to love God. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's keep going. So now, not to put the word of God to the test. Deuteronomy 6:13, when Satan try to convince Jesus to follow him and bow down to him, whatever, and he will give him all the land, all the people that he done corrupted. What did Jesus say to him? He said exactly what he says here. Okay, not to put the word of God to the test. You should not test the word of the Lord your God. You know what I'm saying? You should not test God. You can't test God. Who are you to test God? Right. So that's what he was saying. That's what Jesus said to Satan. You know what I'm saying? That's Deuteronomy chapter 6:16. That's what he's quoting from. Okay.
Okay.
And the last one of this right here one is to imitate in his good and upright ways. Okay. To imitate what God wants you to do. The good, upright ways. Okay. Deuteronomy 28. You know what I'm saying? Verse 9. Mind you, that's another thing about that one. He said in that one right there, he told you in Deuteronomy 28, if you do what I tell you to do, you'll be blessed. And you will have this and this and that. And you will be no problem. You will never be having to worry about this and none of that. But if you don't, if you don't follow what I told you to follow and do what I tell you to do, this is going to happen to you. And he talked about child slavery. Okay? This is 4,000 plus years ago, this was written. Okay, plus. And he said, if you don't, your ancestors to Abraham, if they don't follow and keep the traditions of my ways and my statutes and laws, commandments, this is what's going to happen to them. They're going to be taken on boats from the land they know to the land they don't know not. They will be enslaved with iron yokes around their necks. Okay. Okay. They'll be treated like animals. Okay. Property. Their women will be raped. I can't say the word. Right in front of you. Okay. Men, women, and children. Okay. Will go through all that type of stuff. Okay. You will be broke. You won't have you'll be farming for food that ain't yours. You be picking cotton on a thing and picking tobacco on a field that you ain't gonna even smoke. You understand? You be making beds, making fluffy pillows that you're not gonna sleep on. That's in the word, but not in that exact tone. But I'm just giving examples, breaking off what it says. Okay, it's saying in there things are gonna happen to you. Your language you have, you ain't gonna know your language no more. I don't know the language. In my DNA, I got many. I got Nigerian in my DNA. I got Ghana in my DNA. I got Mali in my DNA. You see what I'm saying? I got Togo Benin in my DNA. Guess what? I don't know none of them languages. None of them.
That's some.
Okay? You know why? Because the colonizers, they did their job to try to strip my ancestry, who I am, from me when they brought me over to America. And they did a good job for 400 years. They didn't let us read and write. They didn't let us participate in none of that. They knew what they was doing. They had a whole book on it. Willie Lynch, look it up. They knew to put man against women, women against men. They wanted you to be single, ladies, gentlemen. They want you to be sleeping with the same sex. They don't procreate, make no more kids. They want you to kill each other and unalive each other. They want you to do that. You know why? Because that means you can't grow mentally, physically, and more importantly, spiritually.
Mm.
Let's continue. So that right there was just God laws, things that he wants you to do for him. Okay? Personally.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's look at the law itself. There were certain things you talk about for the law itself. Okay? That means the commandments and things of that such, right? It says here to honor the old and the wise. Okay? So your elders, respect the elders.
Yep.
Respect your elders. I see a lot of people disrespecting the elders.
All the time.
I don't do that. I don't
Oh
do
my
that.
God, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Elders, because let me tell you something. When you don't have respect for the elders, you don't got respect for nothing. Because how you gonna respect? You can't respect the person that came before you, that has knowledge about things that happened before you. Something wrong with you.
Sick, twisted people.
Okay. The next one says here to learn Torah and teach it. Okay, to learn the commandments and teach it. That's what the purpose of the Israelites. Okay, that's what the Israelites are supposed to do. They're supposed to learn the Torah and teach it. I'm a teacher by trade and by nature, and because, yeah, that's the power God gave to me. Okay, the ability to teach. That's one of my gifts.
I'll be right back.
But I'm a teacher. Yeah, no problem. So me being a teacher is what I do, and that's why I'm here on Saturdays. Okay, we having Bible study. That's what we're having it for. That purpose. Okay. So yeah, that's why you say why I'm doing Bible study. That's my job. I'm supposed to learn it and teach it. Now nobody that learns it teaches the correct way. Okay, but you God's people, and you ask God for help understanding these scriptures, he will give it to you. Okay. And that's that. And that right there is in Leviticus 19:32. Okay. Another one is to learn the Torah and teach it. All right. To cleave to those who know him. That means y'all being here today. Everybody that's here that wants to know about God is my family. Everybody that's here that wants to love God and get to know him and follow his statutes, commandments, judgments is part of my family. I respect you. I love you. You understand me? Do I love people that don't do what they're supposed to do? No. I can love from a distance. Okay? I can love from a distance. That's important as well. Let's go. Next one. Not to add to the commandments of the Torah. Deuteronomy 13, first verse. Don't add to commandments, bro. Don't add to the Torah, commandments of the Torah. Okay? Not to take away from the commandments of the Torah. Okay? Same chapter. Deuteronomy 13. And the last one be that every person shall write a scroll of the Torah for himself. That means you're supposed to write down and document what you're learning. So you and your family, people that you love, will know God. Now, if you didn't notice, we're being live recorded. So this is being as a document. And I'm writing things down with my words, but I'm also reading as well. Not only that, it's also, it takes what I'm saying here and it also writes it down into to word form, so I can take it and repost it, people, myself, as well as other people as well. So for the hearing impaired, okay. So yeah, that is the law. Okay, that's commandments for the law itself. All right. Signs and symbols. These are other things that God instructed people to do. To circumcise the male offspring. Genesis 17 to 12. Leviticus 12 and to 3. At the end of the day, circumcision. Some people don't believe in being circumcised. But, it was a time where God said circumcise. for identity purposes. Maybe it's for health purposes. There's a lot of purposes it could be for. I heard guys that have, what you call it, uncircumcised, private parts. A lot of them get yeast infections easier because of the covering of the moisture and covering of the top of the head, of your private part. They ended up getting yeast infections and other infections easier. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why God said to circumcise. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not here to know what I know what God knows, because God knows more than I know. You see what I'm saying? I'm here to learn as much as possible. So this right here is something that God said to do for every male offspring. He didn't say females either. This applies for men only. Okay, women are not supposed to get circumcised. So what's going on in Africa, I heard of some countries getting circumcised, shouldn't be happening, okay, at all. And that's some weird and demonic stuff, because women get circumcised, it makes no sense. Let's keep going. Okay. To put fringes on the corners of your clothing. Okay. Wear fringes, on the corners of your clothing. Okay. On your shirt, on your head. Maybe it's to identify, so you know who that person is. Don't know. Maybe it's another reason. I don't know. But that's what it says to do. Okay. To bind God's word to your head. That means to keep God's word in your head. Okay. To bind God's word on your arm. Okay. To affix the mezuzah to the doorposts and gates of your house. Deuteronomy 6, verse 9. Again, I don't even know what that is, but I'm going to look up what mezuzah is, right? Because I don't know what a mezuzah is, right? But let's look it up. What is a mezuzah? This is what we do at Bible study. We actually, a mezuzah is interesting. I'm learning something right now. You see what I'm saying? We learning something right now. Okay, a mezuzah, right? They say this is in the commandments, right? In the law, to put a mezuzah on your door. Okay, a mezuzah, right, is Hebrew. Literally doorpost is a small scroll or parchment inscribed with specific Hebrew verses from the Torah, placed on a decorative case and affixed to the doorpost of Jewish homes and other entrances. The scroll contains the first two paragraphs of the Shema prayer, Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9, and 11, 13 to 21, which command, you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. So God wants you to put his word on the gates. One of my favorite Bible verses, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 11. Okay. And I said to say this. I would love to put that on my doorstep. Now that I know that, I'm going to actually get this made, because it's my first time reading that. And again, these 613 commandments, I haven't read all of them. But I will say this. I'm learning as we go along, just like we're doing right now. That's why we have Bible study, to learn more, right? So that's what it is. It's basically a piece of paper, okay, or parchment paper, or whatever, inscribed with verses, from the Torah, placed in a decorative case and affixed to the doorpost of Jewish homes and entrances. That's cute. I like that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. Okay, so that is what that means. Okay, that's what that means, y'all. Let's keep going. All right. So that right there is for signs and symbols. Okay, that God approves, that he wants you to do. Okay. Simple. Prayer and blessing. Prayer and blessing, okay? These are the ones for that. These are the commandments for that, okay? These are the laws for that. To pray to God. Simple. Do you pray? How many hours do you pray? Do you pray a lot? Or do you pray once a year? Do you pray when you eat? Do you pray when you wake up? Do you pray when you go to sleep? Do you pray for good health? Do you pray for your parents and family members? Do you pray for your loved ones? Do you pray for your wife and husband? Your children? Do you pray? That's the first. That's one. To read the Shema, right? The hearing or in the morning and at night. Deuteronomy 6 and 7. Okay? Chapter 6, verse 7. To recite grace after meals. Deuteronomy 8, 10. He wants you to recite grace after meals. Be thankful for the meal you had. You know, when they say we have, feasts and Thanksgiving, that's what they're talking about. Not about what happened in America and the Native Americans and all that stuff, whatever. We're talking about Thanksgiving, okay? That's what it's for, right? So pray after your meals, you know what I'm saying? Give thanks, okay? Not to lay down a stone for worship. Not to lay down a stone for worship. Okay. So not to lay down a stone for worship. Well, I'm gonna take that as don't lay down no stone or rock to worship it or whatever. Period. So that one. Now let's get to another one. This one was a good one right here. This is a good one right here. Okay. Now this is love and brotherhood. Okay, love and brotherhood. Let's talk about it. These are broken down in these things, different things, ladies and gentlemen. But we're gonna just run through them briefly because there's a lot of commandments. We're not gonna do all of them. But I'm giving a gist of the things that people say they can't follow. It's not too hard to follow. It's not hard to follow these laws at all. People make excuses for them and they say they don't want to follow them because of whatever reason, but it's not hard to follow. Okay, so for love and brotherhood, to love all human beings who are of the covenant. So if they're from the covenant, Leviticus 19 and 18, that's your brothers. Those who follow God is your brothers and sisters. That's who you should love. Okay? So all human beings who are of the covenant. Okay? Not to stand by idly when a human life is in danger. Okay? How you doing, Rena? Thanks for joining. That's what it says here, okay, in the commandments right here. You know what I'm saying? Not to stand by idly when human life is in danger. I'll tell you a story. There's a time I was walking by, I was on I was in a neighborhood, like, not neighborhood, but in on the strip, right? Where I'm from, we got a strip where the clubs are at, right? And I'm walking by. Me and my boy at the time was walking by, and what ended up happening was there was a woman, she was arguing with, I guess, a dude she was talking to, and he was with another chick, whatever, and you see him at the club. And as I'm, walking past, at the same time we walking past, this argument is going place, the guy raises his hand to hit her. The black man, you know what I'm saying, raises his hand to hit a black woman, okay, that he was in a relationship with, messing with. I guess they caught him cheating. When he raised his hand, they're going to hit her. I mean, closed fist. Something came over me. Something just hit me. I couldn't let that happen. I didn't stand by idly and watch him hit that woman. As soon as he raised his hand up, and we seen he was doing that, out in front of all the people out here that ain't look like us either, boom, I pushed him over on the ground. I didn't hit him. I just knocked him over on the ground. When he looked at me with a confused face, like, who the fuck is these dudes? Excuse my language. But he had that face like, who just pushed me on the ground like that? He was a small guy either. But we pushed him over because it's like, what you're not going to do is hit a woman. I don't believe in domestic violence. I believe in respect, and that means respect towards our women as well. Okay? And a black woman definitely deserves respect. So ain't no way dude's going to hit her in front of me. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, I pushed him over. Me and the other guy, we pushed him over. And he got up and he changed his tone because he knew we wasn't playing with him. You understand? So that's something that I can relate to and I understand. I don't stand by idly when I see somebody's in danger. You know what I mean? I'm not standing by idly when I see human life is in danger. God says don't do that either for your brother or your sister. You understand? So make sure when you see something happen, don't pull out your phone. Okay? Don't put your phone and say, oh, you know what I mean? Look what happened to this person today. That's standing by idly. I know this is a generation, they take a phone out and they you know, they'll see something happen and they'll just pull the phone out and be like, watch you. God said don't do that. That's Leviticus 19, verse 16. Okay? Don't stand by idly when human life is in danger. Okay? It also says here not to wrong anyone in speech. That's a hard one. Hey, even to this day, it's hard for me. You know what I mean? Not to wrong anybody in speech. You shouldn't curse your brother or sister out. And I don't mean family either. You shouldn't curse your, you know what I'm saying? Somebody you just met out. That's, you know, a person you don't even know. You know what I mean? They could be, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, your family too, but you might curse them out. And now you know, bringing problems by your mouth, right? So, you know, be careful how you talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Especially your brothers. That's the people you love. Okay? Not to carry tales. Not to cherish hatred in one's heart. I'm reading a couple of them. I'm gonna just read all of them. These are all the ones. And most of them are all in Leviticus. Not to cherish hatred in one's heart. Not to take revenge. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. So don't take revenge. You know what I'm saying? Not to bear a grudge. That's the next one. Not to put any Jew to shame. You shouldn't be disrespecting somebody to shame them. Okay? That's wrong. Okay? And our words can do that. Not to curse any other Israelite. Leviticus 19, 14. Don't curse nobody. You know what I'm saying? Not to give occasion to the simple-minded to stumble on the road. Okay? Not to give occasion to the simple-minded to stumble on the road. That was a little bit difficult to understand, a little bit. But that's Leviticus 19:14. You know what? Let's look that one up. Yeah, I like to look that one up.
Oh, wow. I got it.
See, one thing you do in Bible study, if we don't know something, we're gonna look it up. That's what we're gonna do.
2 miles ahead, take ramp to US 411 South.
Leviticus 19. Okay. All right. Let's look at that. Look it up. Okay, that was 14. All right, let's start right here. We're gonna start at 10. We're gonna read that out. We're gonna read this one. I want to understand it. You see what I'm saying? For my own understanding. But I want y'all to follow me in this journey too. Okay. So let's read it. What it says here. It says, whoever. Okay, no. That's not the one. Okay. 13, my bad. Leviticus 19, chapter 19, verse 13. You should not cheat your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of him who is hired should not remain with you all night until morning. You shall not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind. But you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. That's commandment right there. Okay? You should not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind. What does that mean? I mean, it's kind of quite obvious a little bit, but if you don't know,
You should not be evil.
you should curse the ones that don't listen. The ones
Man.
that don't listen to you. You know what I mean? Because everybody not want to listen to you. Not everybody gonna hear you. You shouldn't curse them
1
though.
mile ahead,
You know what I'm
take
saying?
ramp to
And you
US
shouldn't put
411 South.
a stumbling block before the blind. You shouldn't put something in front of people that they'll trip over. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be like, oh, you know, knowing somebody's trying to get right with God, you shouldn't be up here trying to get them to go out to the club when you knowing that they have a problem going to the club and drinking or something like that. See what I'm saying? You should put a bottle of liquor in front of somebody that's alcoholic. You see what I'm saying?
Leading the people astray.
Right. So you shouldn't lead the person astray. You shouldn't put a stomach block in front of somebody. So that's important. All right, let's keep going. So that right there are pretty much the ones for brotherhood and love between family. You know what I'm saying? And our family, my family is Israelites, right? And whoever is Israelite is my family. You know what I mean? And what is the Israelite? It's a child of God. If you're a child of God, you're part of my family. Simple. If you're not, then you're not part of my family.
3 miles ahead. Take
You know what I mean?
west or
And I'm gonna
11
keep
south.
moving. Because I ain't trying to be around you. I'll be honest with you. All right, let's keep going. We got, and it says also when it says in 1914, this includes doing anything that would cause another to sin. So that goes by stumbling block, right? That's what that meant. To rebuke the sinner. Okay, to rebuke the sinner. You know, that's like Jesus said, don't look at the log in somebody else's eye, or the thorn in somebody else's eye, you got a log in your own. You rebuke somebody that's sinning, but yet you sin too. Nobody's perfect. So it says to rebuke the sinner. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Don't do that as well. To relieve a neighbor of his burden and help to unload his beast. I think that's probably talking about just help, to help out a neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, actually, no, take it back. To rebuke the sinner is actually the opposite. My bad. Let's rewind that again. To rebuke the sinner means to not partaking what somebody else is doing. If they're sinning, don't let them just sit there and just keep thinking sin is cool. Let them know that they're sinning. You know what I'm saying? So you're supposed to let somebody know, hey, you gotta chill with that. You know what I mean? And there's been plenty things like that there's been in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite stories about somebody that got rebuked was David. David got rebuked by Nathan the prophet. When he got Uriah unalived. You know what I'm saying? He talked to him, and the guy was talking through the prophet Nathan, and he told him, he said, after he was done telling the story, David was all mad about the story because he was like, oh, who was that person? Who was that man? Let's find him. And the prophet Nathan said to him, he said, that man is you, David. That man is you. So he was letting him know about a situation. He gave him a story, and David got mad about the story and about the person in the story, but the person in the story was him. So that's rebuking somebody. Holding a mirror to him. Let him know, hey, that's not it. You know what I mean? It's a better way. That ain't it. What you did ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing wrong with telling somebody, chastising, what we call that. That's not judging somebody. People think chastising and judgment. Chastising and judgment is not the same thing. You can chastise somebody, but judge them, chastising and rebuking. Judging them is a different story. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody perfect. Okay? All right. Let's keep going. And to relieve a neighbor of his burden means to help a neighbor out. Okay? That's what God wants you to do. He wants you to help neighbors out. You know what I'm saying? Unload the beast might be unload the car or help an old lady across the street. That's, doing something that's, helping the burden of a neighbor. You know what I'm saying? If they come by asking for some sugar, if you got sugar to give them, you could. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving. To assist in replacing the load upon a neighbor's beast. Okay, help out, whatever, moving something or whatever it might be. To leave a beast that's fallen down beneath his burden unaided. Or not to leave a beast that's fallen down beneath his burden unaided. I don't know if you remember the story about when he talked about when Jesus talking about the Sabbath, right? And it was like he said to the person, because they said they was mad because he, picked some food, some wheat, I mean, I think some grain. And they was mad at him. The Pharisees came to him like, you can't do that. That's illegal. You know what I mean? And it was coming at him about that. And he said to him, did not David pick the showbread or eat the showbread in the priests in the temple? And then it's true, David did eat the showbread, come back from war. You know what I'm saying? He was hungry. And he was famished and he needed some food. And he ate the priest's bread. And they didn't say nothing to him. Because David was good and holy and a good man, right? That's the same concept. You know what I mean? He also said there, if an animal falls down if your goat or an ox fall down into a pit on the Sabbath, do you not pick it out of the pit and lift it out of there so it can walk again? So yes, you can do things on the Sabbath day. You can help people on the Sabbath day. If your animal is stuck in a hole, you can help the animal out the hole. You see what I'm saying? On a Sabbath day. That's not illegal. Even if it says you're not supposed to do no work, doesn't mean you can't do no work for good. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference, right, Vern?
Yep.
All right. And that's what I'm saying, people. You know, doing work for good is okay to do on a Sabbath day. That's why Jesus healed people on a Sabbath day. He teach people on a Sabbath day. You know, he did things on a Sabbath day that were holy. Because that's considered holy. Doing God's work is holy. Okay? So doing God's work on a Sabbath day, yes, that's okay. All right. That right there, let's see, one more on in the same regards. Let me see, that would be for all the you know, the brotherly love and you know, unity type of things right there. You know what I'm saying? The poor and unfortunate. That's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 more. You see what I'm saying? You see how we racking these things up? And I'm not going with all of them. My point is to understand is that a lot of these things we already do inherently because God's written in our hearts. You know, information of God in the scriptures is already inside of us. Some people just choose to ignore it for their own fleshly desires. But the information is still there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's still there. And that's that, ladies and gentlemen, is what the problem is right now. Is that we make it seem like 613 is a whole bunch of different laws, but really it's really just common sense, simple stuff. Okay, so look at this right here. For the poor and unfortunate, not to afflict an orphan or a widow. Okay, not to afflict an orphan or a widow. That's Exodus 22, verse 21. What does afflict mean? Let's look it up. Let's look it up.
California.
Not to afflict. Okay.
Kelly in the building.
Hold on. Orphan. Okay.
Houston.
Okay, this is a good one right here. Okay, so Exodus 22, chapter 22, verse 22. Okay, is part of God's moral law. So we got moral laws, right? That's one of the laws in the Old Testament. Moral laws. See, we got moral laws. This ain't even just, this is morally speaking. You know what I mean? It prohibits mistreating, exploiting, or oppressing widows and fatherless children who were especially vulnerable in ancient Israel societies. For example, if you know that woman lost her husband and she's raising her son by herself, you shouldn't afflict her. You shouldn't treat her bad, nor that child that would have had a father if it wasn't for him being unalived by whoever or whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? You put treat with respect and kindness. That's what God said to do. So some of y'all will be like, oh, you know, this shit got a kid. I can't talk to her. I can mess with her. You know what I mean? But you don't know her situation. She might be a good woman. That's why she's single. She might have them kids from love, but the man she's with passed away. you're not supposed to mistreat or exploit her. Some people have done that. And I know a couple examples. Corey Holcomb always talking about it. He a comedian and everything, but I feel like a lot of things he's saying, I think he really do too. You know what I'm saying? And one thing he talks about is single mothers. You know, he's a comedian, but it's a thin line between jokes and reality. And in reality, there's a lot of men out there exploiting single mothers. In a lot of ways. I'm not gonna get on to all that deep in that, but give an example, you know, they do the pay for play stuff, you know. Oh, they know that this woman is struggling, but instead of helping her out genuinely, you know what I'm saying, they be like, oh yeah, I do this on some Nate stuff and set it off. You know what I mean? You feel me? They want to get a little something for something. That's exploiting. That's prostitution. Okay? That's a sin. Mistreating them, that's a sin. Mistreating her kids, that's a sin. Okay? So, that's what you ain't supposed to be doing. Okay? As a child of God. Okay? Doing that. So that's why God has laws in place so that you know what not to do. Even if people do it every day. They shouldn't be doing it. Okay, let's keep going. I had to look that up because I want to make sure we was on the same page with that one. What afflicted means. Okay? Not to reap the entire field. That means share. Okay? That means share. You got a whole field of food, but you want to reap the whole field and make money out of everything, huh? No.
Greed,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's another moral one, right? This is about the poor and unfortunate. Give somebody some, you know, if you got all this food, you born control. You know, like, you know, I tell you, give a story about that one. See, we ain't gonna make this Bible study too long, even if it can go a long time. Because there's a lot of laws. I got a lot of stories about real stuff I can talk about, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it, not because I can't do it. Shout out to Will, shout out to Rena. And not because I can't talk about all these things in the Bible, because I have a lot of stories to talk about. Because I've been through a lot of stuff in life. And I'm pretty sure y'all have too. And Bible study, just that. Discussing what you've been through in life, as well as your own testimonies. If you want to come and do a testimony, you can. But it's also about understanding how these things relate to real life stuff that we go through. You can relate it to real life, like to us right now. So let me give you one, for example, from my personal understanding right here. I had a cookout at work, right? I bought, let's say, $100 worth of food, right? There's another guy say, "Oh, I'll chip in." You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm doing a little cookout, whatever, because you know, I'm my chef stuff, so I get on my, you know, say I cook some food because it was a holiday. It was like 2 years ago, okay, and I was at work, whatever, and I was at the yard, and you know, run the grill out. You know, what I mean, had a grill, rung it out, got the charcoal, went to the store, grabbed some hot dogs, hamburgers, you know, hot dogs, I eat pork, whatever. But I had the chicken ones and the beef ones, whatever. Good. Yeah, and I had some chicken, and I had some sides, you know, and then some other people put in some money too. Somebody put in like $50, a person put in like $20, somebody put in like, you know, 30. Cool. So we had enough to get more food. We got a lot of food, drinks, and everything, right? We got everything. And then we got back, you know, to the yard, and then all the ladies would do they was doing all the, you know, the clean the utensils and everything, get everything ready. And then I was doing the cooking on the grill, right? I was the grill, you know what I mean? I was on the grill cooking all the chicken, hot dogs, and hamburgers and everything, right? And the guy that put in like $50, I think I put in like $450, but he put in like $50. He was really greedy. And he wanted to profit off of doing something out of love. Now I did it out of love. You know what I'm saying? I had a great week that week. I don't know. I made some good money that week. I just say that. and I had, you know, I said, all right, I'm gonna spend $150. I'm gonna go and grab some store because it was like a holiday going on at the time. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get. Let me go ahead and get
You was doing this type of work?
Yep, same thing I'm doing now. But this
Nice.
is the same place. Yeah, as it was here.
Nice.
You know what I'm talking about. So I'm at the
Yep.
yard, Nashville. Yeah, Nashville.
Yeah.
And long story short, the dude was talking about something. Let's charge everybody $10 a plate. And I'm like, for what?
Mm.
I mean, he's like, well, I mean, we can't just give away free food. I'm like, why not?
Why not?
It's only $100. You know what I mean? Or a couple hundred. Well, everybody put it, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like no, you know what I'm saying? It was a couple, like that ain't no money like we talking about here. You know what I'm saying?
He don't believe in
making
giving
money,
back.
We giving back, man. We, you know, because a lot of people was walking around with noodles in their hand, trying to put it in the microwave and stuff. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that this today. You know what I'm saying? Cooking something, man. You want some food, man? I got you. We're gonna cook some food later. You know what I mean? And I was doing it in love. But this dude wanted to make a profit. So he started talking about some charging people. And I'm like, I wasn't with it. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you know what? He put a little bit of money in, whatever. If you want to charge somebody, hey, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it though. You know what I'm saying? So I give a lot of food out for free. You know, but I made the food, whatever case might be. Now, what the problem was is when he started charging people for the food, right? He collected money for the work I'm putting in for the food.
Whoa.
Mind you, I ain't asking for money, but it's a simple fact that he's putting in. He put in only $50, and yet you want to try to make a big profit, $300 off of people giving you $10, and then they're looking at me now, thinking this is like a business now.
Right.
They're looking at me like, yo, when that food gonna be ready? Yo, I'm trying to eat, man. He said the food gonna, hold on. He ain't the one cooking. Second of all, he ain't did nothing for the call besides putting in the $50. Yet he wanted to dictate how it's supposed to be ran and who get food and this and that. And
no.
So I'm like, nah, we ain't doing none of that. You know what I'm saying? I said, yo, listen, people, let's get it straight. When the food is done, we're gonna pass it out. Okay. Like I said, me personally, I didn't do this right here for to be charging y'all. But at the same time, he put in some money, so he want to charge people, whatever. That's on him. I'm not the one that's collecting. I need to collect from y'all. You know what I'm saying? So don't come and be asking me about the food. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I'm making the food for us to eat. But this ain't no, I'm trying to make it for the whole congregation, the whole people, because this was a small thing. People that want some food, and once it run out, it's run out. But now he's trying to make it a business. You see what I'm saying? And so it's not to reap the entire field. I think that applies to that because Leviticus 19 verse 9 and Leviticus 23 verse 22. That applies to that because people are greedy. They don't do nothing out of love. It's always about making a profit.
Right.
All about what benefits them. If you person do things out of benefit, what benefits you, only what benefits you.
One for your life. One for your life.
Yeah.
Get away from them. Come out from amongst them. Separate yourself.
Separate yourself. You know what I mean? If somebody won't do nothing for you, like, you know, they can segue a couple ways now. We can say, because you know what? Me being a man, I've dealt with that from different aspects of things. For example, I've dealt with that with a lot of females these days. You know, they'll say, if you want to talk to me, you got to do this and do that. If you want to talk to me, you know what I'm saying? I need my hair and nails done. So now it becomes, so if I do this for you, what you'll give me? Oh, you can give me what I want for doing something for you. But you ain't going to do it because you want to do it. You ain't doing it because you're looking at what benefits you. I don't talk to women like that. I'll cut women off like that, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? I cut off, right? But here's my thing, though. Here's my point. If you like somebody, or if you want to be with somebody, be with them because you like them.
Amen.
Be with them because you genuinely care about them. Be with them because you generally, you know, are attracted to them or you like them for whatever you like them for. Don't talk to them because they got some money. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of guys that are pimping out here that will use a little bit of money to catch somebody, to get a girl here, and make $1,000 off of them. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of guys in here that will manipulate and use you, using money as a tactic. Okay? So don't fall for the I'm gonna do something
Okay,
for you.
dope.
I'm gonna okie doke. You know what I'm saying?
Amen. Yeah.
If you choose to lay with a man or be with a man, or whatever case, my relationship, whatever case might be with him because you genuinely care about him and like him. Same with the female. You know what I mean? Guys do the same thing. Be with that woman because you like her, not because she got a house, you need a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not because she got a car, you need a place to drive to hit licks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Be with that woman because you really want to be with her. You know what I'm saying? Don't fake like her and her kids. You know what I'm saying? Be with her and be happy to be with her because guess what? That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, do not reap the entire field. Okay, that's what it's talking about. You know, don't be greedy. Okay, and don't do things for evil intent either. All right. To leave the unreaped corners of the field or orchard for the poor. So the unreaped corners of the field, leave that for the poor, it says. Okay, same verse, pretty much. 19 verse 19, Leviticus. Okay, leave some of that field, the harvest you got, for the unfortunate people, man. You know, you notice that the government, you don't have trees all around, like apple trees and mango trees and, you know, grapes and all kinds of fruit that could be around. Why? You know why? Because America's greedy. Government wants you to get food for free. So they want to charge you for all the food.
Yeah.
You find an apple tree or something around, they'll cut it down.
Yeah.
That's why. They want you to go to the store and buy it. They want you to buy that from the store. They don't want you to buy it from the farmer's market. They want you to buy it from nowhere besides the store that you go to, the grocery store or supermarket. They're greedy.
Yeah.
That's why the government's evil. That's why I don't care about none of this government stuff or anything about it, because guess what? It's all a part of their
greed.
Okay. Let's see another one here. It says, not to gather gleanings. That is the ears that are falling to the ground while reaping. Okay. I don't know what that means. So let's look that one up a little bit. That one right there is another one. I don't know.
Ears to the ground while reaping. Eavesdropping. Sneaky.
No, but while reaping is talking about food though. That's why I'm like, I don't understand that one. So let's go to Leviticus 19:19 and see what he's talking about.
All right.
Okay, here we go. You should keep my statutes. You should not let your livestock breed with another kind. You should not sow your field with mixed seeds, nor shall a garment of mixed linen and wool come upon you. So what they're talking about is you shouldn't mix the seeds of the ground. You shouldn't mix like every other tree is a different tree, or every other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you make an apple trees, you make apple trees over here. If you're making the oranges, you make the oranges over there. Keep them separate.
Yeah.
You can't mix them all together. And that might be a reason, I don't know why, but it may be a reason why not to do that. Most times I see a field, it's all the same tree. It's all the same stuff.
Right.
So that's, you know, it says to do that. Okay. So that's what I guess that's talking about here. Okay. Let's see the next one. Not together, Olaf, or the imperfect clusters. Don't gather imperfect clusters of the vineyard. So I guess the imperfect clusters of the grapes don't gather. Okay. So, you know, not to gather the single grapes that have fallen from the ground on the ground. So don't gather the grapes that fall on the ground. They fall on the ground, leave them there. You know what I'm saying? Or don't put them in, don't gather them. Just let them, I don't know, throw them away or give them away or something. You know what I'm saying? To leave the single grapes of the vineyard to the poor. So it tells you to leave them the same grapes that fell singly from the grapevine, give them to the poor. See what I'm saying? See how generous God is? He's generous. Okay? He's generous. He wants you to be generous too. Okay? Imitate his generosity. All right. not to return to the forgotten sheaf. Deuteronomy 24, verse 19. This applies to all the fruit trees. Okay. What's a forgotten sheaf? I don't know what that is. You know what that is, Vern?
Forgotten who?
Forgotten sheaf.
Sheaf?
Yeah.
That's SHIEF?
SHEAF.
Hmm.
Well, you
No,
know,
let's
let's
look that up.
We're gonna look it up.
There you
We're
go.
gonna look it up.
That's a good
We're
one.
gonna look it up.
And you said forgotten sheaf.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Yeah, I'm curious now. For real.
Okay.
Sheaf.
The forgotten
Yes.
sheaf is a unique mitzvah in the Torah, found in Deuteronomy 24, verse 19. When you reap the harvest in your field and overlook the sheaf in the field, or when you reap the harvest in your field and overlook a sheaf in the field, do not turn back to get it. It shall go to the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, in order that the eternal God may bless you in all your undertakings. Meaning, if you, like, when you harvest and you forgot a plant, you forgot a stalk of corn, leave it there.
Leave it there.
Or
Give it away.
Give it that away
Exactly.
to the widow and the fatherless children. Give it to the homeless, man. Give it to somebody.
Right.
What that means. So now we learned something new, didn't we?
Yeah.
The forgotten sheaf, the forgotten plants, the forgotten, the fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be greedy, is my point.
Right.
Meg said that, even though he ain't got a, passion the Bible, but he should, stop being greedy. Yeah. Talk about it. That's what he meant. Don't be greedy, man. I don't know how hard that's explained. Don't be greedy. All right. Let's see.
Share.
Yeah, share, man. You know what I mean? In the right word, share.
I like that.
To share. Like, it's crazy. Let me see. Hold on. I want to change my background a little bit because you know why?
I want to change mine too, but I'm having difficulties over here.
Let me change mine up here. Okay, virtual. I like this one right here. What do you think about this one, Vern, right here? Let's go to the. There we go. Yeah, you like that one, Vern? You like that one?
I can't see because I'm driving. That's why.
Oh,
yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
You know what I'm saying? I try. People. I try. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So that we know what the sheaf is now. Sheaf is forgotten plants. The forgotten sheaf is the forgotten plants and grapes and oranges and whatever, all that fruits and vegetables, basically. Okay. All right. So then we got to leave the forgotten sheaves for the poor. Okay. To not refrain from maintaining. To not refrain from maintaining a poor man and giving him what he needs. So to give to somebody that's in need, don't refrain from it. You know what I mean? A lot of times people that we ask for money on the streets could be angels. It could be angels testing you to see who will give your last couple cents in your pocket.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, people.
That's right.
Let's see here. And to give charity according to one's means. To give charity according to one's means. And here goes the problem right here. Let's talk about this one. Okay. A lot of people don't even know about giving tithes. So you ain't going to get tithes every Sunday?
That's what they say.
If you read the Bible, you would know. You ain't got to get preaching no tithes every Sunday. Not saying you can't. If you got it. Right? But it says to give charity according to one's means. Deuteronomy 15, verse 11.
15, verse 11?
15, verse 11.
Okay.
You saw I say it like that today. 15, verse 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not, so give charity according to your means. That means you ain't got it. Shit, you ain't got it. But if you got it,
that's it.
Then you can give. You should give if you got it. That's like I did.
Amen.
The time I had food. When I had that food, shoot, hey, if I had a great check, that was, I said, let me give something back. We sitting here, people hungry. Let me go and get some food from. You know what I mean? Let me just nice for that young. Let me pay for these groceries in front of this person right in front of me right in the store real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let me cash out this young single mother a little bit of something for get some groceries for the kids and you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying, but yeah, I've done it. My point I'm trying to say is this. If you got the means to do it, cool. Do it. Now, if you ain't got the means to do it, then you can't.
Exactly.
And that's okay too. I'm not judging you. You know what I'm saying? But it's the understanding. It's the understanding that I think that that can be twisted. You know what I mean? Because I had people that wanted charity, but they wasn't right. Their intentions wasn't right. And it's not that they didn't have the money. They just thought that, hey, you know what? Let me try to get it from him because he got money. And that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Because you got to use discernment with that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because just like it could be angels, it could be entertaining, it could be devils too.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And you can tell how. You know, they say, whenever you say no to somebody, you know your true intentions. As soon as you deny somebody something, if somebody asks you for something, you say, sure, I ain't got it. And let's say you don't got it, and they start cursing you out, you know right then. You know what I mean? You know that their purpose, is negative. Hey Q, hey Quinn. So yeah, that's what it's talking about there, Deuteronomy 15. To give charity according to one's means. That means if you got it to give, you give. You ain't got it to give, then you can't give. Simple as that. And I'm quick to tell somebody, if I got it, I got it. If I don't got it, I don't got it. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
And sometimes I might have it, but I might have it for a different purpose. So if I have my money for that, I pay bills and stuff too, I ain't got to give. You see what I'm saying? So give according to your means. If you got to give, then give. If you got to do something with it, then do. But if you ain't got to do it, don't do it. Okay, let's keep going. So that right there is for the poor and unfortunate. Okay, those are something that is very, very simple to follow and understand. You know what I mean? But people will still be greedy. People will still be disrespectful. People will still, you know what I'm saying, want to take everything and pick up every grape off the ground and not get to the poor. Somebody gives some money, you look at them and scoff at them, and you look at them with disgust, like they disrespect you, ask you for help. Yeah, you're the problem.
Yeah.
You need to get right with God. Okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
All right. Treatment of the Gentiles. Now, mind you, even though I ain't a Gentile, we interact with Gentiles every day. What's a Gentile? A non-believer. What's a Gentile? A person that does not know the words of God. That's a Gentile. Somebody that does not follow God's laws and commandments. So if you don't follow God's statute, laws, and judgments, then you are a Gentile. If you don't believe God is real, you're a Gentile. Simple. All right, let's continue. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commandments right there. How to keep them. It says to love the stranger. Deuteronomy 10:19. Don't say you gotta be with them, but to love them. That means if you run into a stranger, treat him with kindness. You know what I'm saying? Treat him with respect. Respect his love. Respect his kindness. Right? So that's what that means. Treat the Gentiles with respect. Treat the stranger with respect. Doing to others as you would like done unto you. Not what they did to you, but what you would like done unto you. All right, keep going. Not to wrong the stranger in speech. Not to disrespect the stranger. I see that going on a lot with these online talking points with FBAs and other. They're going crazy online, disrespecting strangers, people that they don't know from different countries, all because they're from a different country. Either they look just like them, they disrespect them. That's wrong. It says right there. Do not wrong the stranger in speech. Not to wrong the stranger in buying and selling. Do not overcharge the stranger. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Don't overcharge nobody. Don't overcharge your people. You know what I'm saying? Let your price be your price. Don't charge one way for one place on the other. See, a lot of countries do that. Not travel. Okay? I travel. And some place like, for example, I've been to Jamaica, and I remember what happened when I went to Jamaica, right? I went to get to the store or whatever, get some food at this restaurant place, like outside spot, whatever, food truck. And I went to the buy, and I watched people before me buy the same exact thing. And I told the guy I want the same exact thing. He tried to tell me it's gonna be 800 Jamaican dollars. It was really 400 Jamaican dollars. He tried to double charge. I said, bro, you just charged her 400 Jamaican dollars. I speak the language. I understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? You charge her $400. Now you trying to charge me $800? He like, brother. I mean, come on, brother. Nah, you're not my brother doing that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Busted.
Mind you, I got Jamaican dudes with me. You see what I'm saying? They looking like, nah, bro, that shit ain't that much. Like, come on now. And he like, okay, my brother, okay. All right, 500. You know what? Food was looking good though. So I did it, because guess what? It ain't about the money, it's the principle. You see what I'm saying? It's the fact he was being unfair. He wasn't doing what this person says.
Exactly.
Do not wrong your stranger in buying and selling.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? All right, let's continue. Not to intermarry with Gentiles. See, so God was strict about that part. Don't intermarry with nobody who don't believe in God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they don't believe in God, they believe in Satan or believe in, Muhammad Gandhi. Okay, well, they ain't who you should be marrying. Okay? Then it's not gonna work out, most likely. Chances are it won't work out. Because somebody gonna have a problem with something going on, most likely. It's very few situations like that work out. So do not intermarry with Gentiles. Okay? Do not intermarry with unbelievers. Is that hard to understand? Okay, cool. When I talk to somebody, whatever, that's the first question I ask them. You believe in God? What you know about him? You know what I mean? They give me some crazy story, some stuff that don't make no sense. I'm not messing with them. You feel me? So that just, period. Let me see. To exact the debt of an alien. Okay. What does that exactly mean? Deuteronomy 15. Let's look that up. 15 verse 3.
You said Deuteronomy?
Yep, Deuteronomy 15 verse 3.
Okay.
Okay, it says here. Let's start from the beginning.
1 mile ahead.
Okay, this is Deuteronomy 15 verse 3. It says, at the end of every 7 years, you shall grant the release of debts. And this is the form of the release. Every creditor who has lent anything to his neighbor shall release it. He shall not require it of his neighbor or his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Of a foreigner, you may require it, but you should not give up your claim to what is owned by your brother, except when there may be no poor among you. For the Lord will greatly bless you in the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess as an inheritance. Only if you carefully obey the voice of the Lord your God to observe with care all these commandments, which I command you today, for the Lord your God will bless you, just as he promised you. You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. You shall reign over many nations, but they should not reign over you. Remember, that was part of the Deuteronomy part where he says to, what happened to us. You know what I mean? We borrowing from them. They're lending to us when we should be lending to them. You know why? Because we didn't do what we supposed to be doing. That's what we got in the predicament. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. Okay. Let's continue. But the part we want to get is, it says here, at the end of every 7 years, you should grant a release of debts. Now, mind you, they do this in the government. right?
Mm-hmm.
They call it bankruptcy. They call it forgiveness, right? Debt forgiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 7 years, if you don't pay that bill, what happens? It drops off, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it comes from. So even though we're in a corrupt America system, they still been followed by certain laws of biblical proportions.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of every 7 years, you should grant a release of debts. So every 7 years now, they do this right here in the law. That's why it's in the law. That's why it's in the, that's why if you have student loans from school or whatever, or certain loans, at the 7 years, it's supposed to drop off.
Mm-hmm.
They don't put to stay with you at the 7 years. They supposed to drop off. I hope y'all know that. It happened with me. That's how I know. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's how I know. Let's continue. So, but it says here, and it's a form release. Every creditor who has lent anything to his neighbor shall release it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He shall not require it of his neighbor or his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. It's called the Lord's release. Of a foreigner, you may require it though. Okay? Of a foreigner, you may require it, but you should not give up your claim to what is owned by your brother. Right? You should give up your claim owned by your brother, except when there may be no poor among you. So you're able for a foreigner to keep, they can still, require them to pay.
Yeah.
Unless there's no poor among you. So if there's no poor among you, then yeah, you can release that debt. But if there's poor among you, then no. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You hear what I said?
Yes.
It says, except when there may be poor among you. Right? So of a foreigner, you may require it, but you should not give up your claim to what is owed by your brother. Okay? Except when there may be no poor among you. Okay?
Mm-hmm. God.
You understand that part, Ron?
No, I didn't really grasp everything because it's doggone.
Okay, what it's saying here is of a foreigner, right? Because it said after 7 years, if somebody owes you something, you must let it go.
Okay, yeah, I
right?
do. Yes, I do know about that.
But it says here of a foreigner, you may require it. So of a foreigner, though, you can require something because they're a foreigner. Okay, but you shall give up your claim to what is owed by your brother, except when there may be no poor among you. So if there's poor among you, then that money can be used to help your brother, right? Or sister or whatever, you know what I mean? But if everybody around you rich, or everybody ain't nobody poor, everybody doing good, then you can let that debt go too. You see what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes. This is terrible.
So that's what he was saying in that one right there in that passage. That's what I had to get the clarification on that one. All right. To lend to an alien an interest. Okay. To lend to an alien at interest. That's Deuteronomy 23. Okay. 23 verse 21. So I'm gonna go there real quick to get a better understanding of that. Okay. Oh wow. You ready for this, Vern? You ready for this, Vern?
I'm concentrating right now. I can't help you. I can't. This is a tough one. It's a blind side back. I ain't used to this
Oh
one.
man, take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
Man, it's too
I'm gonna
much.
read the door anyway. When you make a vow to the Lord your God, you should not delay to pay it, for the Lord your God will surely require it of you, and it will be sin to you.
Mm.
But if you abstain from vowing, it shall not be a sin to you. That which has gone from your lips, you shall keep and perform. For you voluntarily vowed to the Lord your God what you have promised with your mouth. So don't write no checks that you can't cash.
Nope.
People. You know what I'm saying? If you make a promise, or not say a promise to the Lord, if you make a vow to the Lord, make sure you keep it. That's what he's saying right there. Okay. All right. That's what that means. Okay. You know, and when you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay to pay it. For the Lord your God surely will require it of you, and it will be a sin to you. But if you abstain from vowing, it should not be a sin to you. So basically, don't say you're gonna do something, you ain't gonna do it. Because if you do say you're gonna do something, you don't do it, it's a sin. And if you don't say you ain't gonna do it or you're gonna do it and you don't do it, it's not a sin. So make sure you understand that, people. Okay, let's continue. But I also want to see some miscellaneous laws right here. Okay, you should not give back to his master the slave who escaped from his master to you. Woo! See, this was in the Bible already, y'all. So when slavery was going on and somebody escaped from the field and ran to another place, that master was not supposed to give that person back. But say they did. And what they do to him? Cut off his legs, feet, you know, got his eyes, maybe, you know, hung him. That's what happened to a lot of black people in America and other countries when they escaped from slavery. But it says here, you should not give back to his master, the slave who escaped from his master to you.
This is terrible.
He may dwell with you in your midst, in the place which he chooses within one of your great gates, where it seems best to him. You should not oppress him. Okay? You should not oppress him. That's how you know that people was not really Christians back in the day that had slaves, that the colonizers that colonized America as well as Africa as well. You know, in other places as well. They didn't do that. They didn't follow those laws. You understand?
Damn shit.
Let's keep going.
Let me see something here.
So that right there is the treatment of Gentiles. That's what the Gentiles, God told you how to treat them and what to do when it comes to Gentiles. It's very clear.
Boy.
Very clear. Okay. And this one here, Juan, let me see. I'm going to do probably 2 more of these because these have many laws inside of it, like marriage and divorce and family. That's simple as well, too. It's like about, I'll say 20 of those right there, but I could do all 20. I'm just going to say a couple of them that we have. That's very, very simple to understand. Honor thy father and thy mother. Is that not a 10 commandment? It is. Okay. And then out of that one commandment, there's 20 of them. You see my point? So what is honoring? It's simple, right? Respect your father and your mother. But then it says rather that not to smite your father and your mother. You know what that means? Not to curse them, not to smite them. You know what I mean? Not to disrespect them. Not to curse your father and mother. See how they all go the same with honor? It ain't no different. If you honor your father and mother, you're not going to smite them and you're not going to curse them. Okay, that's 3 right there. It's not that hard to follow his commandments, people. Most of the commandments you already do already. It's common sense. You just don't want to be common. Let's keep going. To reverently fear father and mother. You should fear your father and mother too. Okay? You know what I mean? You should listen to the words, hearken their words too. So like you fear the Lord. You should fear your parents. Okay? They made you, and they can take you out. Okay? I ain't saying that literally, but I'm just saying, listen to your parents, okay? Because at the end of the day, they're responsible for you on this earth. Because they're the first ones that made you on this earth. They brought you into this earth with the help of God. But they're the ones watching over you every day and telling you how you should follow God and what you should be doing, living right. Okay. Be fruitful and multiply. Genesis 1:28. Come on now. Self-explanatory. This is about marriage, divorce, and family. These laws are applied to marriage, divorce, and family. Okay. That an eunuch should not marry a daughter of Israel. Okay. An eunuch should not marry a daughter of Israel. What is the eunuch, people? You know what Enoch is? You know what Enoch is? Let's look at Enoch. I know what it is, but I want y'all to know what it is. Let's look up Enoch. Okay. Okay, Enoch is a man who has been castrated, especially in the past. One employed to guard a woman's living areas in the ancient court. Okay. But a man who has been castrated. Okay. That's who you should not be marrying a woman. If your stuff can't work or is chopped off, you shouldn't be marrying a woman. I ain't say it. This is in the Bible. Okay. So, don't argue with me. Okay. All right. This is in Deuteronomy 23, verse 2. Okay. An Enoch should not marry a daughter of Israel. Mind you, this is specific for Israel people. This ain't for everybody. Okay. If you with a person that can't, don't have a private part or can't get hard or whatever it might be, erectile dysfunction, hey, but guess what? God said right here, do not marry a person that don't have. All right. Simple. That's we can look that up if you want to. Deuteronomy 23, verse 22. Okay. That a bastard should not marry the daughter of a Jew. Okay.
Oh.
So an illegitimate son should not marry the daughter of a Jew. Simple. Okay. That an Ammonite or a Moabite should never marry the daughter of an Israelite. So them two right there specifically, the Ammonites and the Moabites, they should never marry the daughter of an Israelite. Okay? Not to exclude the descendant of Esau from the community of Israel for 3 generations. So the 3 generations, Esau couldn't marry daughters of Israel either. Okay? Not to exclude an Egyptian from the community of Israel for 3 generations. So even Egyptians couldn't marry daughter of Israel for 3 generations. Okay? That there shall be no harlot in Israel. That is, that there shall be no intercourse with a woman without previous marriage, with a deed of marriage or formal declaration of marriage. Deuteronomy 23, verse 18. Let's look that one up. Okay? Let's look that one up. Because I don't know about this one. Okay, Deuteronomy 23, verse 18. It says here, you ready? There should be no ritual, harlot, of the daughters of Israel, or a perverted, one of the sons of Israel. You should not bring the wages of a harlot or a price of a dog to the house of the Lord your God for any vowed offering. For both of these are an abomination to the Lord your God. Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that, ladies?
Yeah.
If you a harlot, you out there sinning, don't go to church and throw that money in the collection plate. God don't want that money. He don't want that money. If you're out there robbing and stealing, God don't want that money. Look what you did to get it. That money don't mean nothing to him. That's important to understand. Okay? All right. Let me read that again. There should be no ritual. Harlot. You know what a ritual harlot means? It means a continuous harlot. That means a harlot that's constantly sinning. That's a woman or a man that's constantly doing something for money. Prostitute themselves out for money, stripping for money, whatever you're doing that's doing for money. You should not, okay? Anything perverted for money, okay? You should not bring the wages of a harlot or the price of a dog to the house of the Lord your God for any vowed offering. For both of these are an abomination to the Lord your God. Simple. Let's keep going. To take a wife by the sacrament of marriage. Okay? So if you're going to take a wife, take her by the sacrament of marriage. Okay? That is Deuteronomy 23, verse 8 and 9. Let's read that one out while we're here. It is an important one. Okay? The children of the third generation born to them may enter the assembly of the Lord. Okay? When the army goes out against your enemies, then keep yourself from every wicked thing. If there is any man among you doing anything who becomes unclean by some occurrence in the night, he should go outside the camp, and he should not come inside the camp. But it shall be, when the evening comes, that he shall wash with water, and when the sun sets, he may continue into the camp. Okay? So, yeah. Cleanliness next to godliness, y'all. Cleanliness next to godliness. That's not just talking about washing yourself up. That's also talking about cleanliness of the spirit. All right, let's continue. It says here that the newly married husband shall be free for 1 year to rejoice with his wife. The newly married husband should be free for 1 year to rejoice with his wife. Deuteronomy 24, verse 5. That the bridegroom shall be exempt for the whole year from partaking in any public labor, such as military service, guarding the wall, and similar duties. Okay? I think you know why. You just got married to somebody, and all of a sudden you stand at the post, and all of a sudden an arrow comes through the wall, hit you right in the head, you die. Or a bullet come to hit your head. Guess what? Usually just in the military, you need to take time off, spend with your wife. Be fruitful, multiply. Get to know her totally, inside and out. That's what you're supposed to do when you first get married for the first year. You're supposed to rejoice for that first year. Okay? Let me say that again.
Oh,
You're supposed to rejoice for the first year when you get married.
it's terrible.
Ladies and gentlemen. You ain't supposed to be working, worry about work and all that stuff. You're supposed to be rejoicing, enjoying that first year, because that first year means a lot. A lot of people, I think, get divorced because of that first year. If you ain't strong in faith and purpose understanding, and communication with your
Oh,
wife,
okay.
husband, that first year can make and break you.
Ah,
I want to say, if I'm correct, what is the let me look that up. Since we here. Divorce rate. Hold on. See, one thing about Bible study, what we do is in Bible study over here, we're gonna use facts and we're gonna bring in the Bible at the same time. So now I'm looking at the divorce rates, right? Okay, that's what I'm looking at right now. Divorce rates within the first year of marriage. All right, let's look it up. Let's see what happens. So, y'all, see, this is the Bible. See, God said the first year when you get married, newlyweds you must rejoice.
this is terrible.
All right. Research shows that about 10% of marriages end in divorce during the first year of marriage. Roughly, meaning roughly 1 in 10 couples separate within the first 12 months. This is a significant proportion compared to the lifetime risk of the first marriages, which is now estimated around 40%. You heard that, Vern?
Yes, sir.
You still there backing?
Yeah, I can't do this blind side.
Anybody around to help you?
No.
Shoot. I called you out the office so fast.
Shoot.
Shoot. If you ain't sure about it, man, shoot.
I got a lot of space. It's just that. Oh my God! Now the doggone door and oh, this is terrible.
Man, I would say get somebody to help you if you can. Tell somebody in the office to come out that bad boy. You need help.
I gotta use this doggone bungee. It's terrible.
But yeah, so like I was saying, people, God said for newlyweds in the first year, first year, you should be with your wife or husband for the first year and spend time and rejoice with them. Okay?
Okay, I got it.
That's what it says here. The first year, you should be exempt from doing anything, public labor, such as military service, guarding the wall, or similar duties for the first year. That means God wants you to focus on your wife, your husband. And look at the statistics of that. You can go right now online right now and look it up. Type in divorce rate within the first year of marriage. It says here, research shows that about 10% of marriages end in divorce during the first year of marriage. 10%, y'all. Meaning roughly 1 in 10 couples separate within the first 12 months. That is a significant proportion compared to the lifetime risk of first marriages, which is now estimated at around 40%. So 40% of people will get divorced even after a year. But the first year, 10%. So that's 25% people of total get married, they get divorced. The first year, a quarter of that is because in the first year. 25% out of 100, which is 20% out of 40% of all the people that get divorced happening within. Pay attention, y'all. Pay attention. Yeah. All right. So that goes to show right there. God he ain't making no mistakes. Everything he said is true. You know what I'm saying? So that first year when you get married, newlywed, spending time with your wife or your husband and making sure that they're happy and doing what you need to do and build and learn with them who they are. If you don't know them already, get to know even more. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's keep going. Let's see here. Okay. Let's get back to it. Okay. So that right there is one. Then it says not to withhold food, clothing, or conjugal rights from your wife. Okay, this is Exodus 21:10. Okay, do not
Oh my God.
withhold food, clothing, and conjugal rights from your wife. So that means yes, you gotta feed your wife. You gotta make sure she eating good. Okay, you have to make sure she got clothes. You know what I'm saying? Because you know she gotta wear something, and you gotta make sure you making sweet love to your queen. Okay. It says it right there. Exodus 21. So if your husband or your guy you're in a relationship with betrothed to is not making love to you, he's violating God's law, God's commandments. Okay? Ain't no withholding sex from somebody. Okay? Get that straight. Ladies and gentlemen, if you marry, it's not your body. That body belongs to your husband too. That body belongs to your wife too. Y'all are one. Okay? So that means, yeah, if you are in a mood, yeah, you're supposed to communicate with your wife. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying in certain situations where, yes, you know, you give it time, you know what I'm saying? But let's be real here. If it's a situation where y'all both in a good mood and everything else, and what the kids might be, but they not doing unto you for some reason that ain't got nothing to do with nothing, they not, you know what I'm saying? They not going, you know what I'm saying? You need clothes and stuff, and he's not going to get you no clothes, and you need clothes because their clothes is messed up and old or something. Okay, if you need food and he ain't going to feed you, okay, then that's a problem. Okay, because that's not, he's supposed to take care of his wife. And ladies, you're supposed to take care of your husband as well. Okay, all right. Now, if you're in your menstrual cycle, that's a different story. If you ain't feeling well, you sick, that's a different story. If you got injured, that's a different story. If you had some health problems, that's a different story. We talk about if ain't nothing of them things going on and you're perfectly healthy. And you just like, I don't want to do nothing with him. I'm not sexually happy today. Oh no, that's not an excuse, baby girl. No. Fellas, that's not an excuse either. You know what I mean? You went to work today, you tired because you went to work. That ain't an excuse either. Go ahead and make love to your wife. Go ahead and make love to your husband. Okay? Simple. Let's keep going. Okay. That a woman suspected of adultery should be dealt with as prescribed in the Torah. Numbers 5:30. Okay. That one who defames his wife's honor by falsely accusing her of unchastity before marriage must live with her all his life. So if you dishonor your wife's honor by falsely accusing her of unchastity before marriage, okay, you must live with her all your lifetime. That means you can't divorce. See what I'm saying? Let's get that right. Okay, that a man may not divorce his wife concerning whom he has published an evil report about her unchastity before marriage. To divorce by a formal written document, that one of the divorce of his wife shall not remarry her if after the divorce she had been married to another man. Yeah. So you can't, So yeah, that one who divorced his wife should not remarry her if after the divorce she had been married to another man. So you ain't supposed to remarry your wife as she got married to another man. It's over with. You know what I mean? That's in Deuteronomy 24, verse 4. That a widow whose husband died childless must not be married to anyone for her deceased husband's brother. This is only in effect insofar as it requires the procedure of release below. To marry the widow of a brother who has died childless. This is only in effect in that so far as it requires the procedure of release below. That the widow formally release the brother-in-law if he refuses to marry her. Okay? So that's basically saying Levitical laws right there. That's a Levitical law. Yeah, to marry somebody else, you know, to marry your brother's wife if she doesn't have any kids. Okay? That is something that that in the Israel community that says, you know, you could do if she had no kids. But if she had kids and your brother died, then you don't have to, you know, marry or nothing like that. But if he died and you the brother next up, you're supposed to marry her. Okay? You're supposed to marry her. And again, this is where multiple wives came in at a lot of times too, ladies and gentlemen. Because let's say your brother died, but you was already married, but you was the only brother, and she had no kids by him. Technically, you're supposed to marry her and make her part of the family, because your brother would have did it. If your brother would have did it, but he died, technically, hey, what's going on, Jenny? I'm doing great, Jenny. What's going on with you? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Still having Bible study, you know. You read the Bible? Jenny? You hear me? Jenny? Okay.
Hi.
Okay. So yeah, so
Okay. Thank you.
that's you know, that's how we got that right there. You know what I'm saying? Now
Sure, not a problem.
Let's do the forbidden sexual laws, right? Forbidden sexual relationships. It's real simple. And I think this is common sense, but it's not common because people are doing it to these days, right? Not to indulge. Oh, you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. You hear me? All right, cool. We're doing Bible study today, so just so you know. All right, so right now we're on the forbidden sexual relationships, right? And this is what God said that we shouldn't do with somebody. It's forbidden to do, okay? Not to indulge in familiarities with relatives, such as sensual kissing, carnal embracing, or provocative winking, which may lead to incest. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have incest with people, relatives. Simple. Not to commit incest with one another, with one's mother. Come on now. Simple. Now, there's people out here doing that weird stuff. Okay? And that's sick. Okay? And your mother-in-law is still your mother. Don't do it. Let's keep going. Not to commit sodomy with one's father. That Leviticus 18, verse 7. It's right there. Okay? Not to commit incest with one's father's wife, your mother-in-law. Not to commit incest with one's sister. Not to commit incest with one's father's wife's daughter. That means your father's wife's daughter, because she's still your daughter. That's incest. Not to commit incest with one's son's daughter. So, ladies, sleeping with, you know what I mean? Not to commit incest with one's son's daughter. Okay? Fellas, same thing. That's incest. Do not commit incest. So these right here are some of the laws right here. Not to commit incest with one's daughter's daughter. Not to commit incest with one's daughter. This is not explicitly in the Torah, but is inferred from other explicit commands that would include it. Okay. Not to commit incest with one's father's sister. That's your aunt. Not to commit incest with one's mother's sister. not to commit incest with. See, all these right here are different laws. All these are laws. That's why it's 613. It's not 613 laws because people say I can't follow 613 laws, but all these laws don't apply to you. Some laws apply to you, and I'm gonna get to the ones that don't apply to you because right now we're talking about the ones that apply to you right now. Okay, this applies to everybody. Don't commit incest with any family members. Okay, that are in this list right here. Okay, not to commit incest with your son's wife, your brother's wife, your wife's daughter. Don't commit all these. Each one of those are each law. There's a whole list of them. But it's just real simple. Do not commit incest. Simple. Do not sleep with your family members. How hard is that? Now, people still do it. Some people are just sleep with their cousins. Okay? Some of y'all are just sleep with your cousin. I don't know who it is, but somebody are just sleep with their cousin. Somebody just sleep with their, third, fourth cousin. Hey, it's reality here. You're talking about reality. And reality is going on. Okay? Some people don't even know their cousins. Some people don't even know they have a sister out there because their father was sleeping around with multiple women and making mad babies. And nobody knew that their father had them kids. And they met with their sister one day and they didn't even know it was a sister. And they had sex with her and slept with her. But guess what? You didn't know. That's one thing, not knowing. Knowing is two different things. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to know who your family is. You got to know who's in your family. Because if you got a big family like mine, you got to know who's in your family. You know what I'm saying? You could be somewhere you don't know where you at. And you got family everywhere. So, yeah, you want to make sure you know. That's why the elders is so important. Because the elders back in the day would tell you if you was, somebody was in your family. They were like, who is that? That's, Aunt Shirley's son's daughter. On his mama's side. Don't mess with her. Once they start saying that, it's over with. See what I'm saying? All right, keep going. Not to commit sodomy with the male. Not to have intercourse with a beast, an animal. A woman should not have intercourse with a beast. Okay? Man, there's people out here that's sick out here. There's women out here doing things with dogs. The men out here doing things with dogs. That's all incest. That's all bestiality. All that stuff. Cut it. Let me see here. Not to castrate a male of any species, neither a man, neither a domestic or wild beast, nor a fowl. A fowl is like a chicken. Okay, you shouldn't castrate the animal at all. Okay, or a wild beast like a lion. You shouldn't cut off a lion's testicles, and you should not cut off any man's testicle. Okay, that's what God said. All right, let's keep going. So those right there are laws that we supposed to do. All right. Then you got laws that's specifically for people that, for example, how to treat people that work for you, your employees, your servants, and even have slaves on here. Okay. But it's in the Old Testament. It was a different time back then, but even your employees or your servants, how to treat them, how to pay them. You know what I mean? With the, you know what I'm saying? For example, when I don't work on Sabbath, whoever I'm training at the time, they can't work on Sabbath either. If they can't work, I can't work. If I can't work, they can't work. You see what I'm saying? There's a reason for that. Okay? There's a reason. Now, it says to appoint or court and judicial procedure, okay, to appoint judges and officers in every community of Israel. Okay? That's in Deuteronomy 16:18. Not to appoint as a judge a person who is not well versed in the laws of the Torah, even if he is an expert in other branches of knowledge. Let me say that again. Not to appoint a judge, a person who is not well versed in the laws of the Torah, even if he is an expert in other branches of knowledge. That means God specific. If you won't know how to judge correctly in the judicial system of the law of the Torah, you shouldn't be judging anybody. Just because you're a doctor, don't mean you should be a lawyer. Just because you're a scientist, doesn't mean that you should be a judge. Just because you're smart in one area does not mean you should be in the other area. A lot of people don't understand that. You know, they think just because they went to school for one thing over here, they can tell them anything about everything else. No. If you're not familiar with God's word, the Torah, the scriptures, and understand that you cannot be a judge if you're not well versed in the scriptures. You understand that? It says right there. That is in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 17. Not to appoint as a judge a person who is not well versed in the laws of the Torah, even if he's an expert in other branches of knowledge. Okay. To adjudicate cases of purchase and sale. Okay. The job of a judge, one of them, is to properly, handle business for people, to properly handle the purchases of sale of land and possessions and whatever else it might be. Because it get tricky out there when it comes down to buying and selling things, cars especially. They want you to, a judge to be a person who is able to do that for people, to properly, put the case together for purchases and sale of different things that people sell to each other or buy. Okay. So these laws right here, which is about maybe like 20 of them, are all based on cases, based on law, on the judiciary system. So anything that has to do with the courts, God specifically gave all the laws for that. Okay. He specifically gave us laws, how to handle business, how to handle judging somebody, whether it's criminal or if it's, financial judgments, anything to do with monetary judgments or anything to do with criminal judgments. He told you who he wants to be able to promote that, or who he wants to judge it, and how he wants to judge. Okay, that's important. You want smart people in there, but you also want people that know what they're talking about in that specific field to be a judge or lawyer. Okay, pay attention. Let's talk about property rights. It says here, right here, not to sell a field in the land of Israel in perpetuity. Okay? Not to sell a field in the land of Israel in perpetuity means do not make it where a person. Let me break that down. Okay, that's Leviticus 25, y'all. Leviticus 25. Look that one up. Get a better understanding of what that means. Hold on. What's going on, Ferdinand? Fernanda? What's going on with you? Big Fern. All right. So let's see here. Leviticus 25, was it? Yeah, verse 23. Okay. It says here, the land should not be sold permanently, for the land is mine. For you are strangers and sojourners with me. And in all the land of your possession, you shall grant redemption of the land. Okay? You understand? It says here, it breaks it down. If one of your brothers become poor and has sold some of his possessions, and if his redeeming relative comes to redeem it, then he may redeem what his brother sold. Or if the man the man has no one to redeem it, but himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since the sale and restore the remainder to the man to whom he sold it, that he may return to his possession. But if he is not able to have it restored to himself, then what was sold shall remain in the hand of him who brought it until the year of Jubilee. And in the Jubilee, it shall be released, and he shall return his possession. So, ladies and gentlemen, it says right there, the land shall not be sold permanently. Okay? But the land is mine. That's what God said. He owns the land. So everybody talking about they own a house, they own land, they own property. You don't own it. God owns it. Okay? In all the land of your possession, you shall grant redemption of the land. Okay? So somebody comes that sold you the land, or their brother or sister comes and tries to buy the land back from you. Okay? You're supposed to give it to them. You're supposed to count the years for what the land was, and if they had the money for it, sell it back to them. Go and get you another property or something. Because there's a reason why they want that land. They would belong to them. And mind you, if that person became poor and only sold you the land because they were poor, only sold you the land because they needed money, not because they want to sell the land because they want to get rid of it. They sold it to you because they was poor and they needed money. You're supposed to give it back to them. If, or at least to them in Jubilee. Or if they have the money to pay for it back, you give them the land back. That's what that's for. Okay. So those laws, again, these laws right here are specific, and it talks about things to do, what to do for property. It talks about, never settle in the land of Egypt, never live in Egypt, not to steal personal property, to restore to which one took by robbery. Leviticus 5:23, chapter 5:23. So it's like it talks about what to do in a situation where you did something wrong. If you stole some money from somebody or you owe somebody some money, make sure you pay it back. And I'm gonna tell you a story about that. Okay. I had a friend, or still my friend, my boy. Matter of fact, his birthday just passed. I'm gonna hit him up and just tell him about it. But that brother, we were doing some business. And long story short, he owed me some money. It wasn't a lot of money. Maybe like $100, something like that. Not crazy, but it was some money that he owed, right? And he said he's gonna pay it back. I forgot all about it. 6 months went by. I think I might have mentioned it one time, maybe like 2 months. But after that, I ain't mentioned no more because it was small money and I wasn't worried about it. So anyway, I lost that little money. I was thinking about it. A year go by, almost a year go by. Man, 8 months. Well, 8 months go by. All of a sudden, he hit me up, right? When he see me. I seen him, I would go over there to hang out with. We were still friends. And you know, I was going over to hang out with him and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I was there, and he said one day, he's like, "Hey man, here go this for you." I'm like, "What's that?" And he handed me money. And I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "Remember that money I owed you?" It was like 8 months later. He's like, "Here you go. I got the money for you." And when he gave me the money, I'm looking at him like, I forgot about that dang money. But he ain't forget about the money. And I appreciate him for doing that. Because even though I didn't probably need the money at that moment, it was a simple fact of the principle that everybody should pay their debts. Just like I help make some money, he should be kind enough to pay back the money that he owes me. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's a story that you know, I still remember, and I always think about that story because, you know, that's what friendship is built off of: honesty and trust. And trust is trust somebody to do the right thing. So, yeah, when it comes to property and property rights, doing the right thing matters. Not just to yourself and that person, but to God. All right? And it talks about all that in here. Let's keep it going. Criminal laws. Okay? So this ain't applying to everybody. It's applying to people that's a criminal law. If you got caught with a crime, that's what applies to you. Okay? It said not to slay an innocent person. You're not supposed to slay an innocent person. Not to kidnap any person of Israel. Not to rob by violence. Not to defraud. Not to covet what belongs to another. Exodus 20:14. Not to crave something that belongs to another. You see somebody with a nice house and a nice car? Don't crave it. You know what they did to get it. Not to indulge in evil thoughts and sights. We do that all the time online sometimes. We look on things online, we see something funny or see something crazy, or see somebody get knocked out, boxing a fight on the street. We laugh at it. It's not to indulge in evil thoughts and sights. Not to indulge in negativity. Okay. Like I said, I just named, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 commandments right there. So you see how hard people make it seem to follow these commandments? It's not hard, people. It's not hard to not slay an innocent person. It's not hard to not kidnap a person. It's not hard not to rob somebody with violence. It's not hard to not defraud somebody. It's not hard to not cover another person's belongings. Okay? It's not hard not to indulge in evil thoughts and sights. You know, you might see something, turn it off. That's what it's saying here. Not to indulge. So these laws are laws that's independent commandments for you to follow. And I'm in the last one. This is an important one right here. Because see, a lot of people don't understand. You might say, well, I have to follow all 13 laws? No. No. You don't got to follow all the laws. The ones that apply to you, you got to follow. Okay? For example, it says here, talk about the priests, the high priest, the priests, and the Levites. Okay? The Levites. That the priest shall put on his priestly vestments for the service. Exodus 28, verse 2. What's the priestly vestments? That's the outfit. That's that outfit you see the preachers, pastors wearing. You're supposed to wear that if you're a priest. If you're a priest, you're supposed to dress like a priest. You have a priest outfit. You're supposed to wear a priest outfit. Okay? That's what it says here. That the priest shall put on priestly vestments for the service. Let's look up vestments real quick. Since we're here. You know, I like to look up stuff because we don't know what vestments means. We got to find it out. See what vestments are. What is vestments? Vestments are a closet, a chasuble or other robe worn by clergy or choristers during services. A priest in green vestments came and preached a long sermon. As an example. So that's what a vestment is. A vestment, okay, is your outfit. Is the priestly outfit. Priests have their own outfits. They have their own clothing. Just like military soldiers have their own clothing, their own attire. So do priests. Okay? And that's what a vestment is, people. So it says there, right? This is one of the laws. Priests should wear that. Okay? Not to tear the high priest's robe. Don't tear the high priest's robe, okay? That the priest shall not enter the sanctuary at all times. That the priest should not enter the sanctuary at all times. At times when he is not performing the service. So, do not enter the temple if you're not performing the service. Okay? Simple. All right. That the ordinary priest should not defile himself by contact with any dead or other immediate or other than immediate relatives. So a priest cannot be in contact with anything dead other than immediate family members. If it's not immediate family members, your brother, father, sister, mother, you're not supposed to be in contact with the dead. Let me say that again. That the ordinary priest shall not defile himself by contact with any dead other than immediate relatives. Leviticus 21, verse 1 through 3. Okay? So, a priest should not marry a divorced woman. Priest can't marry a divorced woman. You understand me? A priest cannot marry a divorced woman. Okay? A priest should not marry a harlot. Leviticus 21:7. A priest cannot marry a hoe. A priest cannot marry a woman of the night. You know why? The book of Hosea tell you all about it. A priest cannot marry her. Okay? Make sure you understand. A priest cannot marry a harlot, a Jezebel. He cannot marry that. Because he has to hold himself at a higher regard. You working for God. You cannot marry a harlot. Let's keep going. That a priest should not marry a profane woman. So, profane woman, I think you understand what what profane means. A priest cannot marry that woman. That high priest should not go under the same roof with a dead body. So you can't go in the same building or under a roof with a dead body. The high priest can't do that. Okay, a high priest shall marry a virgin. That a high priest should marry a virgin. That means a high priest, if you're a high priest, you must marry a virgin. You cannot marry a chick that had sex with another man before. You must marry a virgin. Okay? That a high priest shall not marry a widow. That a high priest shall not marry a widow. A high priest cannot marry a woman that's a widow. Okay? That a high priest should not cohabit with a widow, even without marriage, because he profanes her. Again, you can't live with a woman that lost her husband. It says it right there. Right there. It's a priest with a temporary blemish should not serve there. Okay. It's talking about sanctuary. That a person with a physical blemish should not enter the sanctuary further than the altar. That a priest who is unclean should not serve in the sanctuary. So those are laws that God made. People that's priests, that's high priests, and that's Levites. Okay. He also has them from Nazarites as well. Okay. Again, that don't apply to everybody. That only applies to the men and women of the cloth. Okay. Or the men of the cloth, should I say. Then you got, even the sacrifices and offerings. A lot of times that's something that's, done by them as well. That's why the temple was created in the first place. So things like that is all part of it. And then you got, let's see what else here. The king, not to curse a ruler, that is the king of the land of Israel. Okay. That's in Exodus 22, verse 27. Okay. To appoint a king, Deuteronomy 17, verse 15. Not to appoint a ruler over Israel, one who comes from non-Israelites. You can't, for example, America, you cannot have a president in America that is not from America. There's a reason why. That comes from here. They want somebody from the people, not from another country, not a foreign country. So they're from a foreign country. Technically, you cannot make them a president of America. Same thing for a king. The king, from among the people that you have, not from a strange land. Okay? That the king should not acquire an excessive number of horses. The king is not supposed to be lavish with all these horses and large possessions. The king is for the people, not for himself. King was for God. You understand? All right, let's keep going. The king shall not take an excessive number of wives. Deuteronomy 17, verse 17. What's an excessive number? 1,000, like King Solomon did. Cut it out. Now, I'm a king. Okay? But even me, excessive number of wives, it says it right there. The king shall not take an excessive number of wives. It didn't say you can't take more than one wife. It says an excessive number. All right. Deuteronomy 17, verse 17. That the king shall not accumulate in excessive quantities of gold and silver. What you holding gold and silver for? Share with the people. You know what I'm saying? Being a king is not about being rich. You know what I mean? That he shall not accumulate an excessive amount of gold and silver. Okay, that's Deuteronomy 17 too. That the king should write a scroll of the Torah for himself, in addition to the one that every person should write, so that he writes 2 scrolls. Deuteronomy 17, verse 18. So it talks about that, okay? Then you have ones for Nazarites. Nazarites is a group from the tribe of Judah, okay? You had the Judah tribe, and you had the Nazarites, which were part. That's what Jesus was. Jesus wasn't from Nazareth. Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, right? You know that, right? So he was a Nazarite, all right? This is what they're not supposed to do. Now, mind you, Solomon kind of broke that. Not Solomon, Samson. Samson was a Nazarite too, okay? And Samson broke a lot of the laws, but Samson was wilding out, okay? But it talks about what the Nazarites can't do. Nazarite is a certain set from the tribe of Judah, Okay. The Nazarite shall not drink wine or any mixed with wine, which tastes like wine. And even if the wine or the mixture has turned sour, it is prohibited to him. He should not eat fresh grapes. He should not eat dried grapes, which is like raisins. He should not eat the kernels of the grapes. Okay? That's the seeds. He should not eat of the skins of the grapes. That the Nazarite shall permit his hair to grow. Okay, that means the Nazarite should grow his hair. Okay? The Nazarite should not cut his hair. All right. They shall not enter any covered structure where there is a dead body. They can't go into a place, any building where there's a dead body in it. Okay? That a Nazarite shall not defile himself or any dead person by being in the presence of a corpse. That the Nazarite shall shave his hair when he brings his offerings at a completion of the period of his Nazarethship, and within the period if he has become defiled. Okay? Now, mind you, the Nazarite vow is not a lifetime vow. For some it is. For some it's a temporary vow. You can temporarily be a Nazarite, or you could be a Nazarite for, a long time. It depends. Samson was a Nazarite from birth, so he didn't have a choice to be a Nazarite. Usually you take a Nazarite vow, but he was a Nazarite from birth. Okay. But it says the Nazarite shall shave his that the Nazarite shall shave his hair when he brings his offerings at the completion of the period of his Nazariteship, or within that period if he has become defiled. So it tells you is a time, beginning and end to the Nazarite vow. Okay, the Nazariteship. Okay. Last but not least, but not one of the least, but wars. Okay. We talk about military. Military is different from the priests and the Nazarites. You understand what I'm trying to say? All right. Is that those that engage in warfare should not fear their enemies, nor be panic-stricken by them during battle. That's something God said you're not supposed to do. You ain't put the panic or be stricken. You know why? Because God's on your side. And when God's on your side, ain't no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You better believe that. You better believe that if no weapon formed against you shall prosper, that's what that means. God's on your side. If you don't believe that, then you got a problem. Okay? That means you have little faith. Okay, it says here, to anoint a special priest to speak to the soldiers in a war. Deuteronomy 20, verse 2. That this in today's equivalent to a military chaplain. Okay? You should have somebody, a chaplain, a military priest that can talk to the military. Okay? For morale purposes, for spiritual, guidance or whatever it might be, for battle. Okay? You need that morale. That's what the priest was for. They were there to help out, to get the guys understand, like, hey, talk to them. Comfort them. Get them ready for battle. It says here, in a permissive war, as distinguished from obligatory ones, to observe the procedure prescribed in the Torah. So to follow what's prescribed in Torah to do in battle. Okay? Not to keep alive any individual of the 7 Canaanite nations. Deuteronomy 20:16. If they part of them seven Canaanite nations, completely destroy them. Okay? It says right there. Not to keep alive any individual of the 7 Canaanite nations. Deuteronomy 20:16. To exterminate the 7 Canaanite nations from the land of Israel. Deuteronomy 20:17. Not to destroy any fruit trees, okay, wantonly or in warfare. Do not destroy any fruit trees. Deuteronomy 20, verse 19 through 20. To deal with a beautiful woman taken captive in a war in a manner described in the Torah. Deuteronomy 21, verse 10 to 14. Let's talk about it. We're almost at the end of the Bible study, y'all, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost at the end. It says here, when you go out to war against your enemies, this is Deuteronomy 21, verse 10 through 15. When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God delivers them into your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among them captives a beautiful woman, and desire her, and will take her for your wife, then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails. She shall put off the clothes of her captivity, remain in your house, and mourn her father and mother a full month, 30 days. Okay. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And it shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall set her free. But you certainly shall not sell her for money. You shall not treat her brutally, because you have humbled her. Okay, it says here, if a man has two wives, right after that one, if a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and they have borne him children, both the loved and the unloved, and if the firstborn son is of her who is unloved, then it shall be on the day he bequeaths his possessions to his sons, the day he gives his possessions to his sons, that he must not bestow firstborn status on the son of the loved wife in preference to the son of the unloved, the true firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him double portions of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of his firstborn is his. The right of the firstborn is his. Okay? So, Deuteronomy 25:15, God says right there, if a man has two wives. Now, you remember to say the priest's going to have one wife. And if she can't be a harlot, and she got to be a virgin, and that. This ain't for him. That's for the other men. That's for the soldiers. It's for the other men. Okay? They can have more than one wife. So every rule in the Bible does not apply to every man. Every man's gifts are different. Every man's talent is different, as well as every man's inheritance. But if you have more than one wife, make sure you treat them equally and love both of them equally. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there's a process to it. You know what I'm saying? So God don't have a problem with a man having more than one wife. But how you treat them matters. You see how God is a gracious God? Because he's looking out for the woman. You can't sleep with this woman over here and not sleep with this woman over here. That's what Jacob messed up at a little bit. He was level Rachel. But Leah was, that was his, you know what I mean? She loved him. And even though he didn't really want Leah at first, when Rachel died, he loved her more now. He understood that she's still there. She wasn't leaving. She was locked in. And through that line of Leah came David and came Jesus. So when people tell you they don't understand what was done in America in this Western society was taught over here is not what God taught. And if a preacher or anybody, a teacher, is telling you about the Bible, make sure they tell you the entirety. There's not an Old Testament and New Testament. The Testament is the Testament. Okay? The law is the law. God's law is forever. It's not when you feel like following it. You can't take and pick and choose what you want out the law. That's what it says right there. It specifically told you. We were talking about earlier. There's nothing you can take out the law or put in the law. So what the law is, the law is. In the Torah, in the law, the testaments, whether it's old or new, it's still new to you. So again, people, we can follow these laws. Maybe not all of them, because you might not be a soldier, but you're not a soldier, don't apply to you. If you're not a warrior, don't apply to you. If you're not a priest, it don't apply to you. If you're not a doctor, it don't apply to you. If you're not a judge, it don't apply to you. So there's like about 300 laws right there that don't apply to you. Look at what applies to you and follow them. That's all I can ask you to do. That's what God wants you to do. Just follow his law, the ones that apply to you. And it's not 613 laws that apply to you. Some apply to women, some apply to men, some apply to priests, some apply to soldiers, some apply to judges, some apply to doctors, some apply to cleanliness, some apply to rituals and Sabbath days and holidays. Everything is different. But at the end of the day, what applies to you is what you should follow. You know what I'm saying? What applies to you is what you should partake in and do. And that is the 613 commandments, okay, of God. You should know them. But just because you know the law does not mean that you have to follow each one, because each one doesn't apply to you. And that right there includes the Bible study today, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? We have laws about for women, for purity, for menstrual cycles. That doesn't apply to men. So that's specifically for women. It talks about it. And this is why we have the laws. God gave us the laws so that we can follow. Because he wants us to know the law. We're supposed to study his laws. That's why you have Bible study every Saturday, to study the laws and follow the laws of God. All right. With that being said, that ends Bible study. Hope everybody, if you have any questions, we can talk about it. If you don't, then that's fine too. You can email me anytime at KingCzol@gmail.com. That's KingCzol@gmail.com. Email me about that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for the ones that stayed, the ones that came in, that got some information, some word, learn from me. Shout out to everybody that's still here. Let me see who's still around. What's going on, Slowpoke? I appreciate you become standing, brother, to the end. But yeah, also this right here is also recorded and will be on YouTube in the next hour or 30 minutes. This is also recorded, so it's going into YouTube channel, so you can look at it on YouTube and hear what we went through over. If you want to look at the actual all the laws and where to find them, I'm going to post that link as well inside of the message. So I'm going to send a message out to everybody. And I'm going to post the link for this right here, Pacific Bible Study, so you can look at all the laws and go over them and look through them and fact check anything we talked about today. I think it's important because that's how we grow. That's how we understand. That's my job as an Israelite, to be a teacher, man, to teach the people that need to know the knowledge. To teach the brothers and sisters lost in the game. Because I was lost myself, so I understand. And now that I'm not lost no more, yeah, that's my job, to teach other people to not be lost either. Bring more people to God. That's what I'm going to do every Saturday. Anytime I get a chance, but I do this right here every Saturday because it's the day I take off. And I take my Sabbath day. I take my time to give to God. That's the time I give it to him. Because we should all give time to God, but I want to give a little more time. I don't want to just give a prayer only. No, I want to give more to God. I want to give them, I want to help others that need help. You know what I mean? Give them information, because information is key, knowledge is power. And that's what we're gonna do every Saturday. So this is episode 47, Bible study with KingCzol. I appreciate everybody for coming out. God bless you and good night. Okay. Peace.